What's up? What's up? I'm on time again. I'm on time. Hey everybody, I'll give you guys a minute to get on. Let me didn't December 23rd. How's everybody doing? Change. Let me update that. I forgot to update the the description section. All the goodies I'm gonna put in the links. I got so many windows open. I need a control panel. That's what I need. That's what I need. All right. Happy Christmas Eve, guys. It's Christmas Eve. You know when you're a kid and you really like Christmas, you're like, it's the Eve, Christmas Eve. Because you're just so excited about Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas. Maybe people that don't celebrate Christmas, they don't get it. But if you did, when you were a kid and you celebrated Christmas, you'd be like, it's Eve, Christmas Eve. Because, you know, anyway. Let's see, what is today's show going to be about? Let me see, what was it? Double black vote. And Rapdemic. All right. Hey, Cerebral, what's going on? Are you like my only? Why series? No, dude.
On the web for what's going on.
Did you hear that? My phone was not. I didn't touch Siri, by the way. I'm just saying. But Siri heard me say what's going on, and it was like, hey, pulled up the Marvin Gaye song. Kind of creepy. I don't even use Siri. I like typing stuff and looking stuff up for myself. I don't use Siri. It kind of creeps me out, especially when I don't ask Siri stuff and, you know, they're like, oh, Siri just comes on and like, you know, offers her help without me asking. A little bit annoying, but anyway. All right. Just setting up. Is it going to be a Merry Gitmas? No. Somebody says, fuck Siri. I'm good. How are you? I'm good. Oris. Hey, Oris. Your notice is working. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. You know, there's not going to be a show on Friday because Friday's Christmas. So I'm only doing one live this week, and then I'll be back again on Wednesday. But, yeah, you know, I keep forgetting to tell people, too, that to click the notification bell, that still might not make a difference, but who knows, right? So I have a lot of people saying, oh, I'm not getting notices and stuff, but you guys got to click the notification bell so you get notices. I wasn't doing that for other channels for a long time, but I know that they're also just unsubscribing people because I log in and I see it every day. Like last week, I had 200 subscribers. I was getting up there. I was almost close to 29,000, and then they just took 200 people away. I'm like, right? I know one person, one vote, but I'm going to play the little clip when I'm talking about happy cracking Christmas. I love it. Yes. It's a cracking Christmas. Oh, snap. I think I got a new title for a video. I have a new video idea. Happy cracking Christmas, y'all. This Christmas is cracking. When your Christmas cracks. When your Christmas is... Sorry, when your Christmas is cracking. Right. Oh, thanks. Thank you, Cerebral. I'm gonna mention the skit. Yeah, I saw your comment. Thanks for your kind words. It was fun. It was fun. All right, I'll wait a couple more minutes before I start everything else. Hey, John Johnson. Oh, thank you. Who else? Oh, 2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 1, that's 3. That's a funny name. Hey, guess again. Thanks for the donation. I emailed you, so thank you so much. Yeah, I know. Merry Christmas to you too, guess again. Quick's math. 2 plus 2 is 4 minus 1, that's 3. Real math, not that open court BS that they try to make me teach in school. Just, man, that shit's horrible. It was terrible. Well, you know what? I kind of got out, though. I was getting out just as they were teaching it. So it wasn't so bad for me. But it's terrible. Oh, wait. Okay, I have to. Come on. No. Oh. Okay. Men's, yeah. What's up with that whack common core crap? Yeah, I think that was to make people more stupid. To make people more confused. Actually, there's this lady, and her name is Lily Tang Williams. I think she was running for Senate or something. She was running for some office. But anyway, she's from China. And she was talking about that they didn't call it Common Core, but they did something like that. So basically, she was saying it was basically a way to break people down intellectually and cause confusion so they can easily brainwash people. So they also have this thing called creative spelling, which was like people can spell. If you wanted to spell cat with a K, it was okay because it still, got the point across, and it was allowing people to be, to feel accepted. But to me, that's a problem with learning any language is misspelling words, because that's when huge communication problems happen, and that's where you can, warp and confuse words and stuff. So they were basically trying to do the same thing with math, So that was, I think that was the point behind it. I remember watching her. You might be able to find some of her videos. She's real passionate too. I love it. But she basically broke it down that way, and that's what she was saying was going on with the Common Core in America. And she was just freaking out because she was just like, I left China because of this crap, and now I have to deal with this stuff in America. This is some BS. She was livid. Anyway, homeschooled kids here. Yeah, that's cool. But you know what? I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I have a couple friends who have homeschooled their kids too. And if they're on the internet and if they're playing video game stuff, they try and brainwash them that way. So even though some of my friends' kids have been homeschooled, they're still having issues with their kids because they're going to get them anyway. So I guess the plan would be I would just not monitor what they watch from a young age, or not let them watch a lot of TV or play video games, because they're implanting them with subliminal messages there. And there also is a community of school kids on the internet that have not been homeschooled, and they're still basically going to bring their ideals, what they're brainwashed in school, to your children that are being homeschooled, that is online, because it's the system is set up to do that. And especially when you're younger, you're going to rebel because you want your parents you want to rebel against your parents, because you don't want to agree. Right? Hi, Impeller74. Hi, greetings from Germany. Homeschooling is illegal in Germany. Do you guys know that? That's creepy. Germany is one of my favorite places I've ever visited, ever. I went to Germany last year. It was amazing. And I've been to, in Europe, I've been to, Czech Republic's probably up there too. So the Czech Republic, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, England. I love Germany. I definitely want to go back. If I had money and I can have different houses around the world and I can live somewhere, I could live in Germany. So, yeah, most of my friends are homeschooled. We are working on setting up a community. Yeah, really, that's what it's about, I feel. I'm taking notes, so if I ever have kids, have kids. I'm taking note, like what to do and what not to do. My friends are amazing. Amazing parents. You know, I just watching them raise their kids, especially, you know, my friends that I grew up with since they were kids, and it's really cool seeing their kids be that, you know, that are pieces of them running around and seeing how they still have some of their traits and stuff. But yeah, I would be a great person to talk about the slavery in China and the one-child law. Yeah, I know a little bit about that. I can't ramble on about it like I can ramble on about vaccines, you know, but I lived in Taiwan. I didn't live in China. And I only went to Hong Kong. I haven't been to mainland China. And Hong Kong, even though technically it's China, it's like a different country. They have guns in Hong Kong. They don't really want to have anything to do with mainland China, so... Oh, thank you. Yeah, the barricade garage skit. Okay, so let me start. Let me get on it. Oh, yeah, it's 10:10. So, hey, that young nurse Tiffany Dover who took the jab may be gone. The official response is she is okay, but some videos showing her county death records. I hope she's not dead. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you know, somebody else a friend brought this up too, which would be interesting, like, you know, they're different companies that are competing for the vaccine, and maybe that was one publicity stunt from one company to make the other company look bad. But what's funny is people don't really realize that they're different, that different pharmaceutical companies have different patents. What do you mean 33 on the mic? I don't know. Have different patents, so everybody's still just looking at the COVID vaccine as the COVID vaccine. So they're not even like, oh, you know, it's what am I trying to say? You know, they're not making a distinction between the different companies that make the vaccine. They're just like, oh, this is a COVID vaccine. So, okay. All right. Promo time. All right, guys, please support this channel. Really, one really good way to do that is to become a Patreon on Patreon or Subscribestar, because I know people have their different. Subscribestar, you can start being a patron at $2 a month, all the way up to $2.50, and Patron starts at $5 a month, all the way up to. Ooh, I got another patron. I'm excited. Okay, but yeah, so that's one way. I'd rather like. If I just had a lot of people being patrons, but at a very like cheap rate, like that would help get me through. That would help me to survive, right? Another way you can support this channel, please sign up for my email list, because with all the censorship going on, who knows what's going to happen. But if you're on my email list, it's a really good way for me to keep in touch with you, and let you know what's going on. To this day, I haven't sent out emails yet. I don't bombard people with emails. You can also buy some artwork that my friend Narciso did, some posters I'm selling. I'm waiting for it to load. Oh, no. Okay, here we go. Right, these great art pieces of artwork. I have some zines that I've made, some informational zines for kids. I did 2 on vaccines, 1 on GMOs. I don't know if you can see that. I also did 1 on cannabis, but more talking about textiles and how to grow to make, you know, paper and rope, and, you know, the ways in cannabis can be usable in our society. And then Conspiracy Realist t-shirt, of course, and I'm working on developing some more t-shirts in the future. That's another way you can support me and the channel. Please also follow me on BitChute. Oh, I reached 1,000 subscribers. I gotta do a thank you video, but I'm 1,000 subscribers on BitChute now. Yay! So I'm on BitChute. I'm also on Brighteon. I'm not super active on Brighteon, but I'm seeing, but I'm there. If you guys are on Brighteon and you want to subscribe, I'm also on Steemit as well, and on DTUBE. And while we are streaming, I'm also streaming at this moment on Periscope, Facebook, DLive. Also, please check out some of this is me and the co-founder April right there, my bestie, one of my besties. Please check our old podcasts out on SoundCloud. They're free, so check them out. We have about 109 episodes up there, And if you want to hear some of the old school stuff when we first got started, because this channel, as you may or may not know, it did start off as a podcast, but all the cool people that we interviewed over the years. All right, so check that out. And then please, you can also purchase my conspiracy realism course. It has over 11 hours. It has 10 modules where I break down what is conspiracy, who wants to rule the world, is it possible to rule the world. I talk about the whole racket between the medicine and science, education system, law and government, censorship, media, art and culture, innovation and suppression, and the bright side, basically how to talk to people and what to do with the information once you have it. And yes, also join my music channel. I'm also a musician, and I have 3 songs up here, a music video, and I'm going to relaunch this music video in I don't know if you can see it. The one that's playing right now. It's about the lying ass media, but I'm going to relaunch my music video when I relaunch my Indiegogo campaign, probably in January. I'm going to redo the amount I was asking for and just focus on the EP. So those of you guys that did initially donate to the Indiegogo, that money is still going, I got it, it's still going to go into my business account, and I will get your perks to you by the end of December. And if you are, I'm trying to say, yeah, I also did a rap, a little rap for election day. So if you guys want to check that out, so please join my music channel. It'd be great if I can get 1,000 subscribers there too before I release my relaunch my music video. But definitely, I'm going to be doing that within the next month or so. Just with the election, everything that's going on, everybody's mind was there. I was lined up to be on a lot of my friends' shows that are on YouTube, and everybody's just focused on all the election mess. So I decided to stop it and just put it on hold until this is cleared up, and then we can get on with everything. I'm also have my backup channel, TrutherTalkReborn. I'm 69 people away from 1,000, so then I can remonetize if I hit 1,000 on that channel. What else? All right, guys, I'm just gonna begin with. You guys have to let me know. I'm working on a way to maybe do a sound check with the sound before I start. But for now, you guys have to be my sound checkers and let me know how this is. But James Corbett did a really good. Let me see if I can move it up. He does phenomenal work. If you guys aren't familiar with his channel called the Corbett Report, you guys should subscribe. He did a phenomenal video again, as he always does. This is amazing. But he did one on the future of vaccines, and I'm gonna play a little clip from it for you, but I want you guys to go and check it out and watch the whole thing. So hold your horses. Hold your horses. Wait, hold on to your potatoes. Wait, where is it? I got so many windows open. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go. All right.
Cowpox vesicles from the milkmaid, and then inoculated him with smallpox 2 months later. The boy did not develop smallpox, and the procedure was hailed as a breakthrough of medical science. The term vaccination, derived from the Latin word for cow, eventually came to refer to the general process of introducing immunogens, or attenuated infectious agents, into the body in order to stimulate the immune system to fight infections. But this is not how mRNA vaccines function. In contrast to vaccination, which involves introducing an immunogen into the body, mRNA vaccines seek to introduce messenger RNA into the body in order to trick that body's cells into producing immunogens, which then stimulate an immune response.
mRNA needs to reach the cytoplasm of host cells, while DNA needs to enter the nucleus. Then this genetic material gets taken up by the cell's machinery, and the cell expresses the spike protein. These spike proteins are then recognized by the immune system, hopefully stimulating a protective response.
So the way this is going to work, the mRNA vaccines, is it's the mRNA that codes for that coronavirus spike protein. You're inoculated with that small little piece of genetic material. That genetic material then enters your cells and is translated into a protein, in this case the coronavirus spike protein, which is then excreted from the cell. So in essence, your body makes the spike protein, and then your body makes antibodies to the spike protein, all because it's been instructed to do that. Your cells have been instructed to do that by this little piece of messenger RNA.
Protein factories in the cytoplasm, called ribosomes, bind to the messenger RNA. The ribosome reads the code in the messenger RNA to produce a chain made up of amino acids. There are 20 different types of amino acid. Transfer RNA molecules carry the amino acids to the ribosome. The messenger RNA is read 3 bases at a time. As each triplet is read, a transfer RNA delivers the corresponding amino acid. This is added to a growing chain of amino acids. Once the last amino acid has been added, the chain folds into a complex 3D shape to form the protein.
Any and all questions about this rushed experimental vaccine technology are being labeled by the pharmaceutical manufacturers and the corporate press that runs on their advertising dollars as anti-vax misinformation and being actively censored. But despite the straw man argument that opposition to the vaccine comes solely from ignorant members of the public who are worried about being injected with microchips, there are genuine concerns about the long-term safety of these vaccines coming from within the scientific community, and even from whistleblowers from within the ranks of the big pharma manufacturers themselves. On December 1st, the former chair of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe Health Committee, Dr. Wolfgang Wodarg, joined Dr. Michael Yeadon, a former vice president and chief scientific officer at Pfizer Global R&D, to file a petition calling on the European Medicine Agency to halt the Phase 3 clinical trials of the Pfizer mRNA vaccine until they are restructured to address critical safety concerns associated with this experimental technology.
So, like, you guys, like, these, like, it's so funny how they say, they're just like, oh, the anti-vaxxers, and they're just, like, paranoid conspiracy theorists, and they're just crazy people. But then you have renowned people in the pharmaceutical industry, in the medical industry, that are trying to warn people and tell, you know, about the dangers, but they don't get, like, fuck those people. Like, oh, then those people become quacks, and they become conspiracy theorists, right? They're like, listen to the experts, but when experts come out and actually say something, then they're like, oh, well, not those experts. Listen to the experts that we tell you to listen to. I hate these people so much. They're such fucking assholes. Anyway, so I'm going to leave that in the links. It should be updated. If you go to the description section, it's his link to this video. I don't want to play too much of it too, because I don't want to, like, just, you know, it's like 40 minutes long, but it's so informative, and James Corbett always does phenomenal work. So we actually interviewed him on our podcast years ago, and he's just like the most humble dude. And it was funny because he'd be like, we'd ask him a question, and then he'd be like, well, I don't really know that much about this subject, and then he'd just go off like he knew a lot about it. But I know where he's coming from, because I feel like the more I learn, I feel like the more there is to learn. But he's super humble, and he's just a wonderful teacher. He's somebody that I look at, you know, as he's a little bit young to be a sage, but he's definitely going to be a super sage when he gets older, you know. He's probably a little bit older than me, but I look at him as like the sage in training, where he's just so, he wants to give his knowledge away to empower people. And to me, that's a beautiful thing, because I think, you know, a lot of people, they like to acquire knowledge so they can hold it over other people's heads. And that's when, you know, people become evil. So anyway, all right, so check that out. And then we have the next one. All right, so a lot of people have been talking about martial law. And I found this really good explanation of the Insurrection Act. I think that's what they're talking about, the Insurrection Act of 1807. So if you guys aren't subscribed to this channel too, this channel and Roman Balmakov from Epoch Times, like the Epoch Times has their own channel, and the two of the journalists that are popular there, Roman Balmanov and Joshua Phillip, they actually have been giving really good information on what's going on with the election. And I like them because I know they, you know, they don't do it in a condescending way, but I have the feeling they understand how dumbed down the public has been. But they make an effort to really explain things to people so they can understand and follow along without in a very, I feel like they're, even though they're journalists too, I feel like they're also teachers too, but they're really good at you know, at displaying their information. So I'm going to play a few minutes of this from Roman Balmanov's channel.
Order, we need to discuss the very real possibility of the Insurrection Act being invoked here in America in the very near future. Let's discuss it together. This is your 2020 election update, and I'm your host, Roman from the Epic Times. Now, yesterday, General Michael Flynn said something very, very interesting. He said that President Trump still has options regarding the contested election, including seizing voting machines and using what he called military capabilities to rerun the election in key battleground states. Now, what he's likely referring to is the Insurrection Act of 1807. What is that? Well, let's go all the way back to our third president, Thomas Jefferson. During his presidency, Congress enacted what's known as the Insurrection Act of 1807, and Jefferson signed it into law. The reason for the act, at that time at least, was to foil a plot of a former Revolutionary War hero, a man named Aaron Burr, who was at that time raising an army to establish his own dynasty in the Louisiana Territory. Okay, so what does this Insurrection Act allow the president to actually do? Well, it allows the deployment of both U.S. military as well as federalized National Guard troops to suppress civil disorders, insurrection, and rebellions. Specifically, a section of the Act states, and bear with it a little bit because it's in Old English, whenever the president considers that unlawful obstructions, combinations, assemblages, or rebellion against the authority of the United States makes it impracticable to enforce the laws of the United States in any state by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings, he may call into federal service such of the militia of any state and use such of the armed forces as he considers necessary to enforce those laws or to suppress the rebellion. Okay, now generally, the U.S. military tries to remain as free as possible from getting involved in civil conflicts on U.S. soil because, frankly, no one wants military personnel using physical force against American citizens. For example, if you remember, earlier this year, when President Trump was threatening to invoke this Insurrection Act and send in the National Guard to put down the George Floyd protest, as well as get rid of that autonomous zone in Seattle, the Defense Secretary openly disagreed with him. Now, that Defense Secretary was, of course, Mark Esper, who is now gone, but ultimately, President Trump wound up not invoking the Insurrection Act, which kind of shows you just how much of a last resort measure it is. Even when you have cities on fire and self-declared autonomous zones popping up, it's still not something that you want to use. But let's consider the possibility of the Insurrection Act being invoked today. There is an argument to be made for its being used to address unlawful obstructions to verifying ballots and an insurrection surrounding the 2020 general election. Now, in this discussion, we need to make two big distinctions between this moment now and what happened earlier this year. First of all, Mark Esper is no longer the Defense Secretary. President Trump replaced him with Christopher Miller, who used to be the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. And secondly, troops could be deployed to the swing states in order to take control over the ballots as well as the voting machines, rather than sending the troops over to suppress and disperse rioters. Although frankly, given the sentiment of this country right now, if troops were sent to take control over ballots and voting machines in several swing states, you likely will have a new wave of rioters as well as protests across the country. Now, in the comments section below our videos, I've seen more and more people discuss the possibility of martial law being enacted in America. So let's discuss that for a moment. What does martial law actually mean? Basically, in its very simplest terms, martial law means that the military has replaced the standing government. And along with that, the highest ranking military official, in America's case, that would be the President of the U.S., President Trump, would become the head of state, and the country's constitution, along with both individual rights and freedoms, would become temporarily suspended. Now at that point, the U.S. military would then assume control of all law enforcement duties in the United States, and both the local police officers as well as the sheriffs would then assist them. Now here's a very important distinction to be made. If President Trump is to invoke the Insurrection Act, that is not actually a declaration of martial law. The Constitution would not be suspended, nor would habeas corpus be suspended. With the Insurrection Act, the President would actually be using the troops to enforce the already existing laws, not override the laws. So how might this actually play out in real life? Well, one way is that let's say the Insurrection Act gets invoked. Then the military personnel across the country would seize control of crucial election evidence, such as ballots, envelopes, Dominion voting machines, as well as the servers, and then the military would conduct an immediate and thorough forensic audit of the votes. That way, in strict accordance with the current state laws, all of the lawful ballots would be counted and the unlawful ballots would be disqualified. Now that sounds simple in theory, but the political backlash would likely be intense if the military were to get involved. Specifically, what would happen, likely, is that the media would brand this as a coup, and the millions of people who were satisfied with the Joe Biden victory would likely rise up and protest. And in that scenario, real martial law might then be enacted. But again...
All right, so I also left that in the comments, in the description if you guys want to check this out. I did a skit with Barricade Garage. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's called Rapdemic. Check that out on my page too. I'm not going to play it. Just go watch it. It's on the channel, and I'm going to be uploading it to the other to BitChute in my backup channel soon too. And then I want to play this last one before I take calls, but I don't know if you heard this. This shit is just getting ridiculous. But this law professor basically wants black votes to count to count twice, right? These people are fucking insane. All right, so I'm gonna play this really fast.
We have a very interesting story, shall we say. A law professor from Washington Lee University in Virginia is actually advocating that black votes should count double. Okay, you're there right. Black votes should be counted twice. They should be 200% of any other racial vote. Brandon Hasbrook, who's an assistant professor at Washington Lee University Law School, recently argued in a column for the radical leftist magazine The Nation that black votes should legally and officially be counted twice as a form of reparations for slavery, for decades of Jim Crow laws, and for what he calls the devaluation of black votes. Now, he makes the argument that the Electoral College, and this is a tired argument, but it's continuously appealed to by the rabid left, but he makes the tired argument that the Electoral College was by design a racist-inspired electoral system. The Electoral College supposedly benefits states that have a higher percentage of white voters, which in turn deliberately seeks to reduce the voting power of black people. And that's because the Electoral College originally was supposedly set up to protect slave states. And even when blacks overwhelmingly voted for Biden in states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, he claims upwards of 95% voted for Biden. They still barely won the states. And so, as a means of rectifying this devaluation of the black vote, this professor is arguing that black votes ought to count twice. Every black vote should be worth 2 of any other race's vote. And this is because somehow, according to this law professor, I mean, let that hit you. This is a law professor. According to him, white votes count more than black votes. And so, doubling the value of the black vote will bring about supposedly electoral balance. Now, I find this piece very interesting, to say the least. A very interesting news story for a number of reasons. First, it's perhaps one of the most tortuously argued pieces I've come across of late. The logic of it, frankly, eludes me. I don't see how inserting radically left-wing buzzwords, racial epithets and idioms and descriptors, how that substitutes for clear and concise logic. It's frankly frightening, given that you would think lawyers are supposedly more capable when it comes to critical thinking and clear logical reasoning. This was beyond a disappointment, to say the least, when it comes to that. I mean, just the absurdity of asserting that electoral balance is achieved by deliberately weighting some people's vote more than others, that elections are made more equal by making them less equal, is the epitome of absurdity. So that's the first thing I found so bizarrely interesting about this article. The clear lack of critical thinking that emerges through this fog of left-wing banter and euphemisms. But more than that, he defers to this tired old argument that the Electoral College is only there to provide constitutional cover for slave states. Now, my namesake, Jonathan Turley, professor at George Washington University Law School, he's pointed out how forced this argument has become. He notes that there were a whole host of reasons for the Electoral College. Smaller states had a number of concerns about joining a federal system and surrendering the strong powers granted to them under the Articles of Confederation. Here's how Turley puts it. Quote, "The Electoral College was designed as part of a Republican model of government. As Justice Robert H. Jackson wrote in his dissent in Ray versus Blair back in 1952, no one faithful to our history can deny that the plan originally contemplated that it was implicit in its text that electors would be free agents to exercise an independent and nonpartisan judgment as to the men best qualified for the nation's highest offices. States controlled the election of senators in a system that was a mixing of direct and representational democratic elements. In Federalist Number 10, Madison explained how this structure was designed to stop impulse decisions of an interested and overbearing majority and to process such raw public sentiments through representative figures. In Federalist Number 68, Alexander Hamilton saw the Electoral College as actually enhancing the power of voters by avoiding the pitfalls of party politics. The votes, after all, would select the electors. Moreover, these electors could bring mature deliberations to such elections through representative government. Hamilton paraphrased Alexander Pope in arguing, "For forms of government let fools contest, that which is best administered is best." Close quote. Again, the point here is that the historical record is clear, that there were a whole host of reasons for designating an independent electorate, and the reduction of the reasons to the sole notion that it was all just about protecting slave states is categorically false. Another way of thinking about the Electoral College is that the Founding Fathers believed that it was just as important to win a number of regions as it was to win a number of residents. In other words, you can't just win people, you've got to win places. The president is not merely the president of mass urban population centers, but also rural areas and towns and villages. The president has to be elected by a wide swath of regions, not just residents. And that forces presidential candidates to take Iowa and Ohio just as seriously as they might take Los Angeles or New York.
All right. So there you go, guys. Really interesting, I thought. So, man, I'm so sick of this fucking, like, everything with slavery this. And I'm so bored with those people. They're so lame. I'm so bored. They're so uncool. Like, and I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm like, good luck with life, because people are starting to resent this whole shit. Like, I can see, like, you know, why people are starting to resent black people so much. And you know what the thing is? That there are other races here and there are other ethnic groups. It's not just black and white people. And this whole like facade that's basically it's either black or white. Well, what about the people that aren't black or white? How do they feel, right? How do these people that come to this country and they have nothing and they build themselves up feel about black people who are here that, you know, have been born here, have had all the opportunity here, being an American the whole time, and they're still just rolling around on the floor crying, talking about how much it hurts to be black. I'm so fucking over those people. Like, you know, just give them a fucking pacifier, because they're babies. You know, nobody respects fucking babies. Anyway, all right, guys, I am going to take some calls. 512-481-7464. I'm trying to put it at 481-7464. 512-481-7464. All right. 512-481-7464. Okay, so you guys can talk to me. We'll wait for some people to call in. You guys can talk to me. Yep, it's divide and conquer. But these people, and I mean, it's really like mind control and sorcery, because even, you see how that in that thing that I just showed, the guy that was saying, or the person that was saying that black votes should count double, he's a lawyer. So it's not like he's just some dude, like he's a flipping lawyer, okay? Like, Jesus. I interviewed this guy when I was doing this whole series I did where I was interviewing people that were black, and I did a few other races too, like Latino, some Asian, that walked away from the Democratic Party. I called it the blacker than thou. But, you know, I had this guy. Oh, one second. I got a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, B team. How
hey.
are we doing out there?
Good, how are you, Johnny? What's going on?
Oh, wait a minute. I just wound my dog up. I want to cage. Hush. Go outside. Come on. I got a little wound up, but I'm screaming. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna let go. Hold on a second. Come on. Watch the yard. All right. Hey, round two's coming. They're already warning us 70% more, what would they call it? transmittable with this new
Oh, this is
COVID,
such bullshit.
whatever.
It's such bullshit. I'm not scared.
We know that. I mean, it's like, really? Oh, man, I'm just...
How are people still falling for this?
Force the vaccine on everybody. That's going to be the shit. I mean, I think that's what it's going to take to get the people seriously bound together and say, no, enough's enough.
Yeah, they're going to do that, though. It's going to be a war. It's already a war, but it's going to be a full... But they're not going to break down people's doors just yet. They're just going to, they're going to make people... They're going to do it. They're like, oh, you can't go back to work. Oh, you can't fly. Oh, you can't go see Cardi B in concert, which, that's not a loss, but...
Yeah, you can't go into a food store and buy food.
Yeah. Without your vaccine. No, fuck that. It gets to that point, it's going to be war.
It's just all part of their agenda. They want to break us down. They want to keep us divided. They want to implement their baloney. I thank God for Trump. I'm glad he stood up to that stupid bill. It's like, come on, guys. You got a 5,000-page bill, and you've been fighting over this for 6 months. It's like, come on, really?
Yeah, dude. I want to do a video on that because I was listening to some stuff too, and there's so much money in that bill that's going to foreign countries. It's like, what the hell about Americans? What about us?
Amen.
I was livid, and illegal immigrants are getting.
We're the ones paying you. When they figure out that they got 500,000 people coming with ropes to string them up, then you might change your attitude, or better yet, just get rid of them.
Oh my God, though! But they're giving a lot of illegal immigrants aid. I'm like, no. Like how? No, before Americans, they're like illegal immigrants are getting more money than the Americans.
We're in a very, very sad state of affairs for a country. And it's their big push, and if they don't do it, then we win. I mean, if we can stop it, we finally win, and they can't get their agenda, because their agenda is not a good situation. They're rolling out this 5G. Yeah, it's faster for your phone, but it's also real time for all the cameras and the drones and the this and the that they want to build,
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. It's, that's one thing I don't agree with. Millions to Pakistan for gender studies? Like, what the hell? 500 million to Israel? Oh, hell no. Like, no. And you know what? That's what I'm going to do a video on it.
I actually think that got a lot of liberals or Democrats riled up even over that bill, because they're out of work too, They're
exactly.
Like, what the fuck is our government doing?
And they're not going to even make any of this retroactive. Like, come on, man. People are losing their livelihood, their dreams, their jobs.
Like Biden say, it's going to be a dark winter when all these people are pushed out on the streets with no homes and no food and their families and everything else. It's like, oh my God! It's like, what's the next domino? What's going to fall next?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just amazed. But you know what? You got to keep on struggling, keep on making it happen. Keep your faith with the Lord. I always say, if you walk with the Lord, you can't fail.
Have you heard this? Have you heard this saying that goes, "You walk by faith, not by sight"?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that one. Amen. It's like, no matter what, I'm waiting to see what happens January 6th. I mean, Trump has something up his sleeve. I don't know if they, I don't know if they just want to invade the Congress while they're counting all these all these ballots or what. And Mike Pence is making the decision. Do we allow this to happen or don't we? And I'm just waiting. It's all we can do is kind of wait and see until something seriously happens. I wish I could go out there, but I'm not too busy to get out there. But I don't like crowds myself anyway. You never know what's coming at you anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the way of the world.
Yeah.
Hey, man, B, it's good talking to you.
Good talking to you.
I hope you have a really good Christmas, and keep your spirits up. Wear your V team. You got it going on. We all, you're like the honey bee V. How about that?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Amen. Keep it going on. We love you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you again soon.
Have a Merry Christmas, Johnny. Good night.
Thank you.
Goodbye. I was just like, it's good morning, good afternoon. Bye-bye. I'll talk to you later.
It's all good.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. I'll take this call. Hello. Good morning.
Morning.
Who is this?
Lenny from New Jersey.
Lane?
Lenny.
Lenny. Hey, Lenny. What's going on?
Dude, I freaking had it. Somebody freaking went off on me at the park yesterday because I wasn't freaking wearing a mask. I'm like, hey, asshole. I saw you pull in. You had the red SUV, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, and you almost killed me because you were on your phone. You almost hit me. You ran the stop sign over there and you almost killed me. So what's your point? I'm like, you want me to be afraid of a virus, but yet people die all the time in car accidents and you almost killed me. So don't give me this bullshit that you care about people when you almost freaking kill me because you're being a freaking idiot. Speeding in a freaking park where there's people and there could be little kids running.
Oh yeah, they don't care about people. It's all about themselves. They're either doing it because they're really brainwashed and they really believe that the mask protects them, or they're doing it just to look good in front of their friends.
I really
family.
believe that. And I kind of want to say something going back to what you were saying about slavery. And I don't know, maybe this is kind of out of line for me, but my family came from Italy. Back then you needed a sponsor. Both my parents are from Italy. My grandmother, when she came to this country, the people that sponsored her, it was my grandfather's half-sister. They made my grandmother work like a dog, and they didn't pay her anything, and they beat the crap out of her if she ever stepped out of line.
Oh, wow.
And they said, one phone call, one strike of a pen, I'll send your ass back to Italy.
Oh, wow.
And my grandfather had to get on his hands and knees and say, please, they paid for us to come to this country. I know it's not right, but we just need to do what they said because they paid for us to come to this country. Our grandchildren and our children, they're going to have a better life here. So just do whatever it is they say because they paid for us to come to this country.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you don't hear about this. And I think a part of like the brainwashing not only comes from media, right? Because, every year there's either like a Holocaust movie or there's like a slavery movie or a movie about civil rights. And, it's like I really feel the agenda is to keep the status quo. Because if you really think about it, people only really believe that the only terrible things that happened, were to Jewish people and black people. Like, they're the only people, they're the only group of people that, like, experience suffering ever. Because we have movies that just, like, slam it in our subconscious every fucking year. And not only that, it's in school. And, I didn't realize this until I was a teacher. And I had to teach some of the stuff. And I'm just like, why is the curriculum, why are they always teaching black people about, like, slavery? Like, when it comes to history, why are they only teaching black people that the only part that they really had in history was slavery? And then when they talk, it's like, and then we disappear, right? And then we come back in the 1960s, like when civil rights is, and it's just oppression. And it's just making us, it's a very, like, depressing, what am I trying to say? It's a very, like, it's mind control. It's a form of mind control because they're trying to just change your perception, basically, right? But
to keep you down, you're always going to be a victim. You're never going to be accepted. So if you're never going to be accepted, then why even try?
Yeah, and then they don't tell you about stuff like you just told me about your grandmother and stuff, and they don't tell you about Irish slaves. And I was like, damn, no wonder white people are mad. I actually started being like, oh, I get some of the real white supremacists because I've watched some of the videos and some of the stuff, and they're talking about that. I'm like, damn, I understand why they're mad. I get it now, And it's the thing, they don't want us to recognize that we have solidarity in our suffering because if we realize that, then they wouldn't be able to control us anymore.
Yeah. And you want to know what somebody told me? My friend's dad, another typical white, guilt-filled liberal. He was like, "Oh, but you don't know what it's like because you didn't have your ancestors come over as slaves." I was like, "But my grandparents, they came here from Italy. They needed to be sponsored. It wasn't none of this open borders bullshit that anybody just come. You needed to have somebody that was an American citizen sponsor you. They need to pay the government, and then if you got out of line, if you needed to be deported, that person was on the hook for you.
That's technically slavery.
Pay the government to deport you.
That's technically slavery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a form of
And
slavery, you know?
my grandmom, she was like, "Why aren't you paying me?" And they're like, "Oh, we paid you. We paid for you to come to this country. We paid. Your husband wanted to come here. You wanted to come here because we know that you think you would have a better life here for your grandchildren and your children. So yeah, we paid for you to come here, and that's your payment."
Wow. Wow. How do they eat? Like,
Oh, my grandfather had a job, but my grandmother. So my grandfather went to work, and my grandmom, she went to work, but she not really because she didn't get paid.
wow. So she was a slave. And you know that there were
Essentially,
Italians, there were
yeah.
Italians too back east. They were lynched and stuff. They were like lynch Italians.
Yeah, well, you don't hear that.
Yeah, but you don't hear that. Like, you know, just only black people got lynched and all. But that's another thing too, and that's how they create the white guilt and the black, you know, the black entitlement shit. That's how, you know, that's how they do it.
This way.
Huh?
I look at it this way. This YouTuber, Tim Pool, he was like, there's a study done that these racial sensitivity programs, it actually doesn't work and it makes problems worse.
Yeah, it does.
And I totally believe that because if you think about it, number one, the people that do these studies, they're the woke, ultra progressive white liberals. They're very wealthy. They're the real racists because they don't know how to interact with minorities. And they say that the most racist things, but they think they're helping people, so they don't think they're racist. So they have you do these things, but all it does is it creates more animosity towards the racists.
Yeah.
Because if you look at racial quotas, then you're going to have people that aren't qualified for the job get a job, and then someone's going to be like, okay, well, did you get this job because you're a minority?
Yeah.
Look,
Or did you get the
I have a learning
scholarship?
disability. And I remember before I worked for my family, a few jobs, and I got a few jobs I wasn't really qualified for because of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and they went above and beyond to try to accommodate me. And I always felt bad because then I felt left out because people were looking at me, okay, well, you're not really qualified for this job. I got to explain things, break everything down for you, and I got to explain things over and over again, and you're not doing it very well. So did you get this job because somebody just felt bad for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you seem pretty articulate. Do you mind me asking, do you have dyslexia?
I mean,
You don't have to say if you're uncomfortable.
no, it's just I'm learning disabled. I gotta some things like, for example, like it's hard when I'm driving. Like the distance between certain things and like parallel parking. I can't parallel park. Mm-mm.
So
That's
it's
a big
like
no-no.
your
Spatial differentiation.
Oh, okay. So are you on the
Part of the
you're in the
brain
higher
being
autism
developed.
spectrum a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, but you can have a conversation, you can talk, I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have even guessed that had you not told me. You
Yeah.
know? That's interesting. Yeah, it's a slight brain up, wow. Yeah. So
when I
like,
work, there's certain things I can't do, and I work for my family, so it's not that big of a deal. I work in a restaurant. Like, doing simple things, it takes me a little longer to do, like make a sandwich.
yeah,
And
I
I
know.
always felt bad because, like, I'm like, okay, how the hell am I ever going to live on my own? And I feel bad because I can't help my brother. And he's like, it's all right because he's like, not for nothing. He's like, we're the owners. You're not really supposed to do this. We got people working for us. He's like, your job is just to answer the phone, bring people up, give them back their change. He's like, we get people to do this kind of work. They work for us.
So do you have like motor skills, like poor motor skills?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I don't know exactly what. I know that I've heard that there are ways to work on that. I used to be a special ed teacher, I was almost I almost became a permanent one, but I used to work a lot with special ed. I'm interested because I'm asking this stuff because I work with a lot of kids like that too, and for the facial differentiation and stuff, you have to be like, oh, this is happy, this is sad. It's very interesting how intricate our body is and how we take a lot of stuff for granted, that the little things that we can do that, but yeah, so, that's really cool though. I mean, yeah, like I said, like you're a smart guy and I could have a conversation with you. So I don't know, maybe you should look into
2020. He was dyslexic. There's a report John Stossel, that's it. He was dyslexic, and he was like, look, the fact that I'm dyslexic, if I had a law like the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, I would have never have had to try to work on my dyslexia and try to improve myself.
Yeah.
I would have just said, hey, you got to accept me, you got to give me this job, not, okay, this is a little harder, I got to work on it. And that's kind of like the way I looked at it. Like, okay, I practice when no one's in the restaurant. I start making my own lunch. I make my own sandwich, and then maybe I get better at it, and maybe by next summer I'll be able to work on the grill. Do something more than just answer the phone and make the change.
Have you?
And take slices out.
Have you? I don't know. Like some guy. I feel like guys think it because they think it's girly. But have you ever tried yoga and meditation?
No, I'm sorry. That's not really my thing. Dude,
I feel like when I tell guys this, they get like, "Oh, that's a girl thing." But I swear, when I moved to Taiwan, the first 2 weeks before I found my own apartment, I roomed with one of the teachers there, and he had the same issues, and he did yoga and meditation. Like, well, by the time I was there, he was telling me that he was, at motor skills, trouble focusing, but he was really into like meditation and yoga and shit, and he swore like down that it really helped him to improve. I'm just saying, it may be something like that. You're probably going to have to go outside of the allopathic model to actually find something that would really help you. And it may be something like that. That's not, you'll be surprised. It's but I get all like flustered when I tell guys about yoga because I feel like guys like they just, I don't know, they're like, ew, yoga girly, but yoga's, I don't like the culture of yoga. That's the thing. Like, it's become very elitist and snobby and lots of liberals and stuff. But I like yoga itself is amazing. And if there's any way I can transform the yogic culture and have people do it, it's phenomenal. Like, it's helped me with some injuries that I've had internally. Like, I had this, I'm still kind of dealing with it, but from me driving, I think I had some alignment issues and it was like pushing part of my like small intestine out, and I went to this is the last time I went to the allopathic doctor, and they were like, oh, I got a scan to figure out what was wrong, and they're like, oh, it's inflamed. Then I had to have exploratory like surgery so they can figure out why it was inflamed, and then they couldn't figure it out. I was like, fuck y'all don't know shit. And then I started doing yoga again, and I've had so much improvement. But I know mentally too, it's body, mind, and spirit, and it really, really helps you. I'm just saying, you can maybe just start looking up some YouTube videos about yoga and breath work and meditation, and that shit works miracles. Just put it out there. I'm just saying, if that's something you want to do, and also practicing and stuff. But I wish more yoga was incorporated into schools and stuff, but they wouldn't do that because it would actually they've done it in some prisons, and they've seen tremendous improvement in people that in their personality changes and their motivation and their health. So I don't know, I'm just putting it out there. Do what you want, you're a grown-ass man, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, now you got that idea in your head. I hope you look into it.
I really like the video that you did the other day about where all the men at.
Oh, yeah.
When you pulled up the puppet, I was dying. I was in public, I had my headphones on, I'm drinking a cup of coffee, and I started spitting it out.
Oh, good.
And it started cracking up.
I'm glad. I want to make people laugh because honestly, like we need art and music right now. You know, that's been corrupted by the left too. You can't. It's all like depressing and really like amoral, and it's not really uplifting. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy to hear that I made people laugh. So I really appreciate it. But Lenny, let me.
It's interesting. I'm sorry. You got another call?
No, go on. Finish up, and then I'm gonna try and take some more calls. But go on. What are you saying?
Okay. I kind of understand what you're getting at, though, because I had an ex like that. She was very comfortable with, like, oh, you got to kill the spiders, take out the trash, which I was fine with, but, like, which I totally believe, but she was, like, at the same time, she would always get on me because I wasn't expressive. She wanted me to be more expressive. And she didn't like the fact that I would be like, okay, but I'm a guy. Guys are a little different. Guys don't really necessarily talk about their feelings.
Yeah.
And we're more like the type that will show you that we love you.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, they'll show their love. They won't talk about their show it. Yeah, for sure. I'll take out the trash. I don't have an issue with taking out the trash. I just the big bugs. I can even do spiders. I hate those big ass like flying roaches. I hate them so much. Oh my god.
Everything with her was magnified because she thought everyone had a problem with us because we were a biracial couple.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was black, I'm white. And then, like, so if anything would happen, oh, it's because we're a biracial couple.
Oh, that sucks. That, you know, that, like, when you're in an interracial relationship, you gotta be with somebody that's not paranoid about it, though. You know, that sucks.
Yeah.
I hate that. Yeah, I know. I mean, I've dated outside my race, so it's not like an issue for me, but there are people I've noticed that, you know, that it's like an issue for them. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, dude. Thanks for calling in. Let me see if I can get some more calls in.
All right.
But hey, man, think about the yoga thing. I'm serious. Do some reading on it. Watch some videos on it. You know, and maybe just do some before you go to class. Just do some at home and see what you can get done by yourself without you know, having to go to a liberal ass studio. Because I get it. You know. So.
Yeah.
All right. Have a nice day, Lenny.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Next caller. Oh, for sure. I'm trying to. It's not letting me, you guys. You know, the YouTube is some of the comments, like Lisa Frequency has one, and YouTube is holding it hostage. And I'm trying to put show, and it keeps saying error, and then guess again. I'm trying to put show. This kid probably got fucked up from a vaccine. Yeah, probably. I didn't know. I mean, I think that brain damage also could occur through, most likely, I would say a lot of people that on the spectrum have vaccine damage from my experience. But, you know, I do have a friend that had a child, wasn't vaccinated, but they gave him a mini surgery that he really didn't need. And he became severely autistic from the anesthesia. So the other things too, sonograms. But I think, you know, another thing is cesareans, where, you know, if somebody gets a cesarean, the baby enters through the vaginal canal and it makes, you know, they get all of the microbiome and they get bacteria and all the stuff. That there's certain things that they get that strengthen their immune system that if you have a cesarean you don't get. And now they're just, nowadays with a lot of the babies too, they're doing like, they're having births, but they're like scheduling them. So they're doing like, you know, they're not waiting for the baby to be born. They're just like, just come in on this day and we'll just induce labor. And then, you know, the Pitocin that they give the mothers and stuff to induce the labor, that also causes brain damage. I mean, there's so much shit. Silver nitrate they put in the eyes, right? Then the vaccine. So you have all this stuff. You have like the the sonograms that people get that don't know how really harmful it is. Then you have the cesareans, the silver nitrate, and the Pitocin that they give to induce labor, all of that shit. And then on top of that, you're giving vaccines? I mean, come on. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. My cousin, I remember my cousin's wife was going to have a baby. And I was like, oh, when is she? My mom was like, oh, yeah, she's due this date. And I'm like, oh, she's due around this date? Like, they're like, no, she's going to go in and they're going to give her cesarean. And I fucking lost it. And my mom's like, her baby, her life. I'm like, Mom, I know, but damn, like, this is just, that's not good. That's unhealthy. I'll just try and read them as they come in. All right, guys, I'm taking calls. Got another hour. 512-481-7464. What are you guys doing for Christmas? Cesareans should only be out of necessity. And that's another lie, too, that, mostly emergencies. But, hello, good morning.
Merry Christmas, Verstein.
Hey, what's up, Cerebral? Merry Christmas to you. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, is it snowing in Colorado?
Oh, I wish. No, it snowed up in the mountains, actually, last night. So, we had a bunch of killer wind, though, down here in the city.
Killer wind. Yeah. Snow's nice when you don't have to be out in it,
Yeah, I mean, I love, it depends on the type of, blizzard. Like, if it's just, calmly coming down, there's nothing like going on a nice walk when there's a nice little, fresh layer of snow, and it's all sparkling with the light, and then, you can just watch each little, individual snowflake that's huge, just calmly coming down. Sometimes that's really relaxing.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. That is nice. I like snow when you're having fun, like when you're maybe going skiing or when you're doing something fun in the snow, but if you have to work and live in it, I would lose my fucking mind.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think.
It's a dream that, or what was, to live up in the ski areas and be a ski bum for, just the ski season and then come back down to town and then, you're a musician, find work elsewhere and then just wait until you can go and play at the bars again and ski all day. Oh man, that would have been a cool lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not I've been skiing a few times. It's okay. I'm not I would rather learn how to surf. I like water. I like water sports.
Okay.
But skiing, what I hate about skiing is the fucking suit and the damn boots.
Yeah, no, I agree. I hate having my shins always hurt.
Yeah.
After skiing.
Yeah, because of the boots.
Because I do Go ahead.
I don't know. You're saying you'd be like what?
I do the double black, so I go off cliffs, kind of what you see some of the pros do.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It's not groomed. It's this last year I hadn't done it for a couple of years, and then I was like, man, I want to go do it. There's good snow, so I went to Crested View, went to their double black area, and the first run I go to do to warm up, I had to help people get down because they're like, oh my gosh, those signs are serious. You can die up here, and I was just looking at them. I'm like, you are on the side of a cliff.
Yeah, it's snowboarding seems like it would be cool. I think I can get into snowboarding a little bit too, but I don't know. I like snowboarding and surfing, I guess. I would love to learn how to surf. Surfing looks like it's so much fun. And I like swimming, and I want to learn how to scuba dive. So I'm more I don't like cold weather. I mean, I can deal with the cold weather, but I'm just I don't know. I hate just having, I feel constricted. I think that's what it is with the skiing. It's very constricting. Mm-hmm. Because it's when you have to go to the bathroom, and I drink a lot of water. And I remember, because outside in California, up in the mountains, it would snow. And I had the science teacher junior high, And he was amazing, and he didn't have kids of his own, and he loved us, and we would always do fundraisers. And then during the winter when it would snow, we would all like take trips. It'd be like a 2-hour drive or so from LA, but we'd go up to the mountains, and we learned how to ski. And I've only went like a couple times, but I wasn't really like, I don't know, I just hate the constriction. I feel like, when you're like surfing or in like a sunny, you're swimming, it's less constrictive, you're more free, it's more freeing, so.
Oh yeah, I'd avoid actually, like, I guess being a man, I was lucky. We would always avoid having to take our skis off or anything if we had to just, go to the bathroom or anything, if possible, because there's nothing worse than going into the trees in deep snow and then trying to like get back into your skis.
Oh,
and then, you know how bulky those boots are. You can't walk in those things.
Yeah, I feel like a robot. You're like,
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't move your ankles, so you're just like locked and you're just like kind of like gliding, it feels like, when you step on your ankle and it slams you back down.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, skiing is fun. I like going fast, and I love, I'm a very active person, but as far as like, it's just like the boots and all the shit that comes with it. I really wasn't really into skiing. But I do rafting. I'll do that. I'll do, water, like I said, but yeah, I'll just not like a huge skier. So what's in your mind today? What do you want to talk about as far as like what's going on?
Oh man, I feel like they're running contingency plans on us, honestly. Like that there's a good amount of us that are gonna absolutely say no, and that so it's like they already had, like, they thought so well into this plan, and they already have all these ideas, I think, set. Like, okay, so they're obviously gonna have like a few different moments where they're gonna stand against us. So like we need to have the contingency plans to deal with those people. And so it's interesting. Like, could say like some of these nurses that they've been showing, and a lot of the doctors and stuff that they've been showing taking the RoRoJabs have had the cast on, the needles have been depressed, and then we do see one, and she does faint on television, that Dober lady. But like what I was saying earlier, and I know this is going to sound strange, but there was a 33 on the mic, and this could have been just a video clip I saw, but she fainted right at the 33 mark and stuff, and it probably was edited to be that way. But what's interesting is what if? Could they be setting things up so they can convince us to go along going against it, and they kind of back that to create a movement to want to go against what they're doing, but it's just so that they can come in with another Trojan horse and then smash us all.
Well, I don't know, man. There's so many possibilities, right? And then my friend had another. Right. She's like, well, what if it's they're two competing pharmaceutical companies for the vaccine, and what if one maybe it's a stunt by the other pharmaceutical company to make that vaccine look bad so theirs can thrive. Now, the thing I was telling about that is most people don't even know the difference between which company is producing what, because they're just like, oh, it's the vaccine. They're not going to make the distinction which one is which, right? So they're just going to be like, oh, the vaccine. So I think that could backfire on them. But I think their plan, they've accelerated their plan, and they're supposed to be rolling this out slowly because of a lot of wrenches have been thrown in it. They're accelerating. So they're exposing far more than they want to. And they still don't have the control over the internet like they want to.
I agree with you. I 100% agree on that point. I really do think they are kind of rushing right now. It's like you said, I thought they were going for 2030, not 2025, and then it dropped them to 2022, and they're like, oh my gosh, now what do we do? Now we've said this, now we got to keep going with it, and then they have all their, it's interesting, the whole dynamic. I don't think it's going as fluid as they thought it would go.
Yeah, and people, and when this corona thing happened, which was glorious, I don't know if you saw, they have so anytime Bill Gates is interviewed now, you look at the comment section and it's fuck you, Bill, you're evil, blah, 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 blah. And how they can, censor comments, or how they can change comments and stuff. But it was so many people that were giving him so much hate. They couldn't even they couldn't even doctor the comments enough. And they have all their, they couldn't even doctor the comments enough. And they have all their, they couldn't even doctor the comments enough. And they have all their, they couldn't even doctor the comments enough. And they have all their, they couldn't even doctor the comments enough. And they have all their, they couldn't even doctor the comments enough. And they have all their, they couldn't even doctor the comments enough. It was so many.
Yeah.
It was more than they could handle. So I mean, like I think that's a really good sign. And there are a lot of people outside. They won't tell you this in the mainstream media, but in different countries, there are a lot of people that are suing the Gates Foundation that hate Bill Gates. They're saying how their vaccines are like crippling people. Healthcare workers were getting killed in certain. I know Pakistan, and there was another African country where they were getting killed because they realized that the vaccines were paralyzing their children. And it's funny though, because I've been on this tip even before the COVID vaccine, but people are like, "Oh my God, you can't sue." I'm like, "You mean like all vaccines?" And they're like, "Oh my God, there are all these horrible ingredients in the COVID vaccine." I'm like, "You mean like all vaccines?" So it's just some of my friends and I are just kind of sitting back, and we're happy to see people that are questioning this now. But it's kind of funny because it's just like, we've been trying to tell you guys. They were like, welcome to the resistance.
It's like we've been people like. I mean, I haven't I've been going out on the streets. I haven't been making videos like you have. Which I'm very proud of people like you for doing this. But they. People have been warning, like you have been warning everybody, like, hey, there's going to be this kind of event that's going to take place. They're going to try to scare all of you to give your rights up. They're not going to just like take them from you. They're going to ask you to give them up, and they keep saying things like you're willingly going to do it, and they're either going to use a virus or a nuclear kind of war or something. They're going to use the television to scare people, right? And then it happens, and then everyone's like, how do you not see it? How Are you kidding me? Do you not see the what they're saying? Like, what?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just, people wake up at different times too. You can't. That's a frustrating thing. You can't force people. It's all in their own time because people have different reasons why they are blind, whether it's fear or arrogance or ego or naivete, So
everybody has their own path to follow too, spiritually.
Yeah, it's true, and that's where the spiritual war comes in, right? And I'm just like, I'm doing my part. All I can do is like, because when I start coming across this information, I was like, I have to tell people. How do you not tell people all the fucked up things there are in vaccines? And your friends are having kids.
Yeah, no, for real.
How do you not at least tell them? I mean, it was hurt that I got shunned by a lot of my friends or like exiled. But at the same time, if something happened to their kid and I didn't at least tell them, I would never forgive myself. Because the only reason why I didn't tell them is because I was going to be afraid of what they would think of me. They think I was crazy. So.
Well, I mean, we can't if you you're saying on one side is like. Your knowledge of something, and by spiritually by not expressing that and telling the rest of like other people of this profound knowledge you've come across, it's essentially like a thing. But as well, like what else is growth without something coming up and shaking the path? Like if everything was perfect, we wouldn't move, we wouldn't grow, we wouldn't ascend, we wouldn't. Yeah. Seek knowledge, right? So, people like you and me are the I don't even know what you call it. We're the force that's gonna go up against that unmovable object and just go around it and continue.
Yeah, I know. I know there's a word for it. I know what you're talking about, but it's like you need that resistance, that adversity to become stronger.
Mm-hmm. Well. I don't know if you have any other people calling. I want to stay on some longer.
Okay.
I did finish my anti-mask song, which I'll be sending it to you because.
Okay, cool.
You'll dig it. I by the way, I want to try to create some kind of website that people can just go to and find nothing but truth music.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because I think that's something that will help people in the future. I think music will be one of those things that we can get through the cracks when they start bringing down even further censorship. So more
that's true. But you know what?
You're doing.
But I want to say this too. I feel like, yes, that sounds cool. But I also, you got to do it in a way where it's still relatable to everybody. Where it's not just truth music, but it's music that speaks truth. Because if you have that niche where it becomes kind of like, you know, Christian music, not that it's bad, but it's like some of the Christian music is good, and then it becomes very kind of like exclusive of people too, where it's, you know what I mean, like you can still talk about certain things without making it so direct. It still has to be indirect.
No,
you know what I mean?
I get you. Well, that's what I'm thinking more in, like, this song I did go kind of direct, but yeah, I do agree with you actually being more metaphoric, using lots of puns and plays on words, you know, and those are the things that I think, like, and I know you're racking your brain every day when you're working in the studio or when you're practicing, and I know a lot of other artists are doing the same thing, like, okay, so, like, how can I write these lyrics? What can I do? What motifs can I use?
Yeah.
You know, what style of music? Like, yeah, there's a lot to it, and I'm glad you're thinking in that that spectrum.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you too. I can't wait to hear your song. So.
No, I'll hit you up because I did want to kind of have a little talk with you about, like, what I want to put up just input on the video work, because I want this to be, you know, powerful. And I want to get your music out there as well too. So I kind of want to also you know, put you down, like, hey, check out this channel and stuff. But I'll email you. We'll talk.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks, Sue. I'll text you later.
All right, have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
All right, guys. 512. The number's at the top. 512-481-7464. Do you spoken word and art? I call it Christian music. I'll call it Christian music is bad, and I'm a Christian and a musician. Yeah, I mean, there's good. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you're jamming, and then it just gets too direct, and you feel like you're being proselytized. I think there's a way to get certain values and thoughts and ideas across without making people feel like they're being proselytized. And I don't even do that with any of my music. Even though people probably understand where I'm coming from because they know my channel and what I do and my thought processes. But if you hear the music itself, you won't really think that, because I really try not to be like that in my music. Because there is too, like, I just want, one thing I really hate what's going on politically is just that you can't even go to, like, a music concert. I went to see Bon Iver right after Trump got elected, and it was like, it was cool, but then they had to fucking import, like, the fucking SJW shit. I was just like, play the music. Like, I think that's the one, like, sports and music is the one place you're supposed to go and just play sports and music, because you know, you might be able to connect with somebody that's on the opposite scale politically, because you find common ground in the music that you like. And then if that happens, you guys are more likely to listen to each other and make alliances. But if there's still this political divide, I mean, it's done by design, right? Then it's even harder for people to bond with each other. Like, I just need a timeout. You know, like, I just, I'm working on this project, and the drummer, I just lost a drummer because I think somebody, his friends, or either somebody he knows maybe found my channel, because the excuse he gave was that he couldn't get behind my music, the political message of my music. And I'm thinking, what political message? I don't have a political message in my music. It's about shit. Like, one's about the media, but that's not a political message. One's about bullying, about being bullied. Another one is about just, you know, having a paradigm shift, but it's not political. So I don't really, you know, I don't know. So it's just really disappointing that you can't even, you know, everything's so politicized and everybody's so fucking sensitive. You know, so yeah. It's really frustrating. If somebody says promote your stuff, I will. I'm just waiting. I want to re-release my music video, and I want to have Yeah, I have plans to remote stuff. I got some footage of me playing with my bandmates not too long ago. I played it on the show a little bit, but I guess the sound was a little bit distorted. So I'm gonna cut some of that up, and I'm gonna, yeah, I have some plans. The reason I'm not super on my music right now is like when I promote it, I want to be able to tie it to the re-release of the Indiegogo campaign, so I can get people to donate for the EP. So that's why I'm kind of keeping it on hold. So 512-481-7464. Let me see. Prohibition and speakeasies come to mind in the situation. Yeah, right. Never heard of Freedom Cell Network? No, what is that? Can we have links for the channels? Yes, Aviation Arms, it's in the description section of this video. So all my links, my music, my band is named Beavi, Beavi, and that is in there. And then I have the links to all the other channels that I'm on. So yeah. Oh, somebody's calling. I got a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, how are you? Is this O?
Yeah, this is O.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm getting people's around. What's up? How you doing? What's on your mind today?
I always have a lot on my mind. But I didn't want to. I just came on here just to air some of it out.
All right. Shoot.
With this bill that they passed, one thing that's good about social media is that it exposes a lot. So like a lot of these people are being exposed for the frauds they are, and all the Republicans and all the Democrats, I think Pelosi clinically insane. I believe so. And people like Mitch McConnell and all these old geezers and shit like that, they're just so out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
And they don't care about us. And I think people are waking up to it. And it makes me realize the importance of the Second Amendment, because with the Second Amendment, if we got 365 million Americans, we have 365 million armed Americans. That makes America the biggest army in the world.
Oh, so, for sure, yeah, standing army.
So that's why we have to be like at each other's necks all the time, hating each other. So we can't unite against the common enemy, and the common enemy is really this whole globalist agenda and all their stupid agents in Congress and in the bureaucrats and all that stuff like that. So, what needs to happen is people need to just stop being afraid. Like these people feed on fear.
Yeah, for sure.
I read a lot of comments saying when somebody tries to do anything, they're going to kill us, and I'm just like,
they're going to kill us anyway.
Well. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna die.
They're trying to kill us anyway.
You gotta die. It's like, hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. Sorry, but that's why I'm just like, people are like, oh, they're good. I'm just like, but they're trying to kill us anyway. So, I'm more afraid. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of living in 1984. Like to me, that's more horrifying than dying, because I have a belief that it doesn't end when you die, that you go somewhere else. But I'm afraid of experiencing hell on earth. That's scary to me, So I'm like, well, but there are people that are still like, they're controlled by what other people think about them. You know what I mean? Like you can just be like, oh, you can just, people are being controlled just by shame. Which, I mean, come on, man, that's like the first tier. Like they're not even controlling, not even holding a gun to our head. But they're controlling us. So like, oh, if you don't put your mask, people are gonna think that you're a horrible person. People are like, oh no, like that's how wimpy people fucking are.
Yeah, that shows you how weak people's so quote unquote religious convictions are, because
Yeah, right?
you know the like you know the Bible tells us not to be fearful of anything under the sun, or it tells us not to be fearful of anything. But you know you got all. I don't want to keep beating up on my people, but like you know it's like you know black people are the most religious people, and you know they're always, but they you know they conform most to you know all the status quo and all that stuff. So it's like you know just taking a step back. I'm like I see how slavery lasted 400 years. Motherfuckers are scared.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure.
You know.
But I think a lot of... I'm sorry, go ahead. You said what?
No, I'm sorry. I was saying I was sure, you know, there were slaves talking about revolting and another slave ratted them out and shit like that.
Well, there have been revolts. You know that there were documented revolts, right? There have been they just don't teach about them. But there were revolts, and there were also, you know, Haiti was successful. Justin's like, my people, because I have Haitian ancestry, so I'm just like, but see the thing about Haitians, they took everything down with it. They're just like, we'd rather fucking die than live like this. So that's why they were successful, because they were just like, no, this shit is going down. We're gonna take this shit down. You know, rather than live in hell, than live like slaves.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the attitude you have to have, you know?
Yeah, because what's really life without freedom? I mean, you're just in a, I don't know, I'm, you know what I want? I just want to have fun again. Like,
I know, see, I know.
These people have just ruined, they've just ruined society. Nothing's fun. You can't turn on the TV, nothing's funny. Dave Chappelle's not even funny anymore.
I know, they took his humor. They took it. They said, that's what I'm just like, I have to start doing, I mean, I'm not as funny as Dave Chappelle, but I'm like, okay, I need to just start being goofy again and making music and stuff like that too, because we're starting to forget what we're fighting for.
Yeah, you know? We're fighting for our lives, our freedom.
We're fighting for our lives, our freedom, our spirit. But if we can't make, you know, we can't have comedy, we can't have music, we can't have fun, what's the point of living? What's the point?
Yeah.
We're just going to be workaholics all day just so we can, like, I'd rather not live.
That's slavery.
Yes. Yes, I'd rather not live. You know?
Yeah. Speaking of which, your Tucker Carlson impression is hilarious. You know, the way he closes that open and squints his eye.
No, thank you.
Is funny.
Thank you. You know, though, I was frustrated because I'm real critical of myself, but I was like, my lips are too big. It would be funnier if I had small lips when I couldn't do it and talk, but it's just like, because if you look at Tucker, like if he was a cartoon, it just looked like somebody drew a line on his face. You know what I mean? And he's just like, it's so funny because he always has this look on, like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like that's what he looks like he's thinking when he's talking to these crazy ass people. He's just like, what is like what? Are you for real? You know? And he just like, yeah, it's funny. He cracks me up. He doesn't even realize. Well, I guess he says. I saw him in an interview, and he says he realizes that he's a mouth breather, but his eyes squint. And it's just, I don't know. It just cracks me up. So, yeah.
Yeah, I used to get teased when I was a kid because I'm a mouth breather. They used to say I got big lips and shit like that. And, I was real self-conscious of it, but then I was like. Then I grew up. I was like, man, all these niggas got big lips. Like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, because I'm black. I know. They were jealous. My friend had her niece, and you know how kids are just fucked up, but they would call her. I guess she had big lips, and they would call her Blubber Lips 2000. And it was kind of funny because it's like, how do kids? Cold. How do you even think of like putting the 2000 in there? You know how kids come up with names.
Yeah, just creative.
Yeah, you're just like you're like they're assholes, but you're like that is pretty creative. Like, how did they, they come up with this stuff? But she was like, you know what, guys are making fun of them now, but she's like, when you get older, they're gonna want to kiss them, When,
like I love big lips.
Yeah,
like, shit.
That's
one thing I wrote down on my list that I want in a woman. I was like, I want her to have thick, full lips.
Well, that's what do you call it? Like big lips. what was I gonna say? People are paying for that, you know. People pay money for big lips. You know,
it's crazy. People just need to be thankful just for who they are.
And what
there's
they have.
beauty in everybody.
Oh, definitely.
There really is.
Definitely.
And,
well, that's another side I would say to like invert people's beauty, like, you know, as far as having straight hair, or wanting to have big lips, or getting tanned, you know, using tanning stuff. Even Trump does that shit. Like Trump's like, you know, he gets whatever he uses. That shit's not good for your skin. Like you can tan naturally, and there are natural things you can do to get a little darker, but those chemicals for your skin, those really bad. Just like the chemicals though that black people put on their hair. I'm not like saying any race is better, but we all do things to, you know, it's like the grass is greener on the other side, you know. And I'm not saying that I'll never straighten my hair again. I'll never straighten my hair with chemicals. I'll probably press my hair, but you know, because I like being able to play with my look and stuff like that, but. It's interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, straight up. I feel you. But another thing I wanted to say, are you familiar with Danny Roddy, his channel?
Dana Roddy? No.
Danny Roddy.
Oh, Danny.
Dr. Ray Pete.
Danny Roddy, Roddy?
Yeah, and Dr. Ray Pete.
No.
Well, they're like, you know, it's the nerd in me. You know, I love biochemistry.
Yeah.
Dr. Ray Pete, he's a PhD in biochemistry, and you know, he released all these papers on the effect of stress and all that. And you know, I know, you know, I have a biochemistry background, so when he was saying it, I was like, damn, all this shit is making sense. Like, and one thing that I've noticed, and I have not done any studies on it, but you know, like, I'm a personal trainer, and when I'm sitting down with people, I'm asking them, you know, how is their life and how stressed they are. Because when you start getting stressed, you start getting a lot of inflammation, and your blood sugar is high, or your insulin is high, so it's hard to lose weight. And I think one of the most unrecognized stressors and trauma in this country is loneliness. A lot of people are lonely, and that is a very traumatic experience.
Oh wow,
so
that's really fascinating. That's a good connection. Yeah.
So a lot of people are not healthy because they don't have that connection. You know, cause like a couple summers ago, I went on I did like a 3-day fast, and I was doing like low carbs and shit like that, and I was feeling good. And I didn't feel the stress because I didn't feel like alone. You know, I had like you know, connections. You know, I had like a friend. You know, we were talking and stuff like that. She'd come over and stuff like that. So I didn't feel too stressed. But then like when I moved, then I realized, you know, like when I try to fast and do low carb, I'm like, this shit is stressful. You know, I started getting a headache and dizzy and all that. And I'm like, fuck it, I gotta eat some sugar, you know, to balance this off. So, I'm saying all that to say that the more we're disconnected with each other, the unhealthier we are.
But these assholes know that. That's why they're keeping us separated.
Oh yeah. And this is why I hate the school system, because they don't teach you shit. They teach you stuff that is totally irrelevant.
Have you heard? Check this out. This is going along with what you're saying. There's this famous study. Have you heard about the study about the orphans? So they got these orphan babies, and they fed them, they changed them, and they didn't they didn't hold them or talk to the babies, and the babies all died around the same time.
Oh damn!
And they tried it. They did it twice. They did it twice. Because they're just like, okay, well, what happens if we withhold like love and attention from the babies? But we still, you know, they had the basic first tier on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where they had the first tier, and you know, like their physiological needs were met, right? Like they were changed and they were fed, but they weren't talked to and they weren't held. They were just laid in a crib, and then when they cried, they were fed, and then they would leave and stuff like that, and they all died. They didn't know that they were going to die, but that was just, and then they were like, no, this is like a fluke, and they did it twice. They got some more babies, and they did the same thing, and the exact same thing happened.
Yeah, That's cruel. That's very inhumane.
Yeah,
But,
it is inhumane,
I mean-
but I'm also just making the point that like we need as human beings, we need affection and love and to be connected with each other.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, like as I grow up, I'm realizing we're all just big kids. We're all
Oh
just
yeah,
kids, you know?
yeah, for real.
No, straight up. You know, our physiology. If you put a child through the stress of an adult and you introduce them to the years of toxins that adults have been exposed to, then their metabolism's going to slow down as well.
Yeah.
You know, so we God created us to function in harmony with each other in our environment, but you know, all this fake ass science and all this shit,
Oh,
you know, it's fucking people up, and you know, it's real. Like you always saying, it's a religion.
It is.
You know, I was at the store the other day, and then I just looked at everybody with a mask on. I'm like, man, this shit is a religion. Like it's based on dogma, and that's all religion is. It's just based on dogma. So.
No, it is. And it's like, it's so funny because when you know how it is, but a lot of people assume that studies have been done, right? They're like, oh, well, the studies. You're like, what studies? What's it? Where? Show me. And they're like, you know, just like they talk about herd immunity, you know, and they're like, well, we all have to get vaccinated because of herd immunity. And I was just like, oh, okay, so where did that come from? What? It's science. I'm like, yeah, but what study? Like, I'll ask people, and they'll just be like, and I'm like, yeah, it's actually based on natural immunity, not vaccine-induced immunity. So maybe before you start fucking, like, telling people or acting like you know everything, maybe you should know what the fuck you're talking about, you know? And it's funny. It's funny, this is a little bit, so I went to this solstice party the other day with my friend, and there's this lady, she comes over, and she was like, yeah, like, she, of course, because I'm a black woman, she just automatically assumes I hate Trump, and I'm really, like, when I go out, I really don't even want to talk about politics. I'm just trying to have fun, like you said, right? It's like everything, there's no fucking fun, because everything's political. So she comes up to me, we're talking, and she was like, oh my God, like, I hate, you know, all the violence that Trump is causing. And I was like, well, how is he causing violence? And she's like, oh, because of the guns. And I was like, yeah, that was already there before Trump. It's called the Constitution and the Second Amendment. She's like, yeah, but, you know, like, you just shouldn't be able to go to Walmart and buy a gun without a background check. And I was like, you can't buy a gun without a background check.
Without a background check.
And I was like, I have a gun. You can't buy. I was like, I have a gun. I had to go through a background check before I got a gun. And then she's like, well, you shouldn't be able to go buy AK-47s at Walmart. And I was like, you can't buy. And no, first she was like, oh, well, I did a background check. No, she was like, well, I was able to buy a gun without a background check. And I was like, really? Where? And she was like, Walmart. And then I was like, what gun did you get? And she's like, an AK-47. I was like, you can't get an AK-47 at Walmart. I was like, she was just lying through her teeth. It was so funny. It was so funny, and she just kept getting caught. But it was just like this whole, you know, like, even what's going on politically. I guess I brought that up maybe just to say, like, it's dogma and people that just follow and have these assumptions and assertions without actually looking into things.
Without asking questions.
And looking into things. They're asking questions, and you know, I was nice to her, and I just ended up having to change the subject, and we found something that we had common ground on, and I just stuck with that, because this girl, like, she was just so super ignorant, you know, but I can tell that all of the ideas that she had was what she was being told, you know, and not something that she actually took the liberty to go and figure out herself, you know.
You better than me.
Yeah,
I just walked away.
Yeah, there was another lady that was like sitting there. She got up and walked away. I'm practicing patience. I'm trying to talk, you know. I don't know. People open up to me, and I think I try and also take that as a blessing and a gift, and I try not to, you know.
Let them off. Yeah, I feel you.
You know what I mean? But sometimes I've had to, and I think when I was driving, it was really hard. I got a little bit better that when I was doing Lyft, it was a little bit harder. I ended up arguing with some people. Some people I was able to talk to. Some people I ended up arguing, but it's a little bit harder when you're in a car because you can't get out the car. You can't really kick. I mean, you can kick people out your car, but you don't want to really do that, you know. There are some people I just want to be, get the fuck out of my car. Get the fuck out. Like, but you can't really do that, you know. Like, but there are some people that just got the fuck out without me even having to say that because they were just like,
good.
They were so scared.
They did your dirty work for you.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, I can't believe that you're not a Democrat. Like, they didn't know what to do. I can't believe that, you know, you hate vaccines. There's one couple that we were totally cool, and then I don't know, I didn't bring it up, but it came up, and I told them what I thought. And it was raining, and they were like maybe 1,000 feet away at the airport, and they had a baby, and they like got out the car. They're like, oh no, we'll get out. I'm like, we're almost there. I'm like, they're like, no. I'm like, it's raining cats and dogs, and you have a baby. Oh no, we'll get out. I'm like, all right.
Like, yeah, I had I was 2020 got me out of patience. I was at the store and I was talking to the cashier about like this whole bullshit and propaganda, and this one white guy, not I didn't mean to say white guy, this one guy in a mask. He had like a Darth Vader mask on. You know, God. He was like
because he's trying to make it fun.
Yeah, he said, dude, you need to put your mask on. You don't respect science. I'm like, dude, I'm a scientist. Like, what are you talking about? No, you're not. There's no way you can know science and you talk that shit. And then I just got mad. I was like, why can't I know science? Is it because I'm black? Is it because I'm black? And I started making a scene and shit like that. And he said, fuck you, dude. I was like, man, fuck your mom. I'm like, you can meet me in the parking lot. And like an idiot, I was waiting for him in the parking lot. And I was like, man, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this is not legal.
I know, it's tempting. It's tempting. Yeah, I've gotten better. I used to have a really bad temper. I've gotten way better. Because I've realized people are crazy. And you know, even even a few years ago, I went out to these people. They were like it was Refuse Fascism, and they were in Austin. And I was trying to interview this guy, and this guy came up to me and he blew a whistle. I have this on video and way like a few years ago. It's in the videos, but this guy came up to me in a unicorn onesie, dressed up like a flipping, like he's a damn 1-year-old in a onesie, but a grown-ass man. And he just starts blowing his whistle in my ear. I fucking took that whistle and I wrapped it around my hand and I pulled it. And they had to call the cops for me to let go because I wouldn't let go. And he's like, stop it! You're joking me! I was like, just this fucking whistle. Like, I was so mad. And then I was talking to my mom, and my mom knows my temper. And my mom was like, all right, well, either you're going to go to jail, or you're going to kill somebody, or you're going to get killed. What is it going to be? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I need to, I wouldn't have the patience to like, these people that, go out and these people physically attack them. And they're like, all right. They're like, oh, you see what he did? He just pushed me. Look at how these liberals are. I'm like, fuck that shit. Somebody's getting their balls broke. Somebody's getting their face scratched off. Like, somebody's going down. Like, I'm not going to let somebody come up to me and just put their hands on me. And I went to another rally, and this person, I was standing. I didn't have any affiliations, whatever. This girl comes up to me and just pushes me. And then I pushed her back. And then the cop's like, you can't push him. I was like, this bitch pushed me first. And I'm a smaller person, so people automatically think that I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
You know?
These people are cowards.
Yeah, they're going to go after me, So I'm just like, I've just had to realize maybe, I still might do some lives. I fucked around with some of my people, but I know that they were going to really touch me or anything because of where I was and stuff. But, I really have had to realize I don't really go out as much and do those things because I'm not going to let anybody put their fucking hands on me, and it's going to be okay. And especially, if I have to represent somebody, like I'm friends with, I know the guy that does, if you've seen the V for Vaccine, Joshua Coleman, he does and he goes out and he trolls people, and they go to the Women's March every year, and oh man, last year it was fucking horrible. And, they went to the Women's March last year, and these dudes and it's mostly women's, but they're like kicking their signs and kicking them and hitting them and spitting on them and shit. I was like, I would have killed somebody. I couldn't have stood there and just took that. I just couldn't have. you know.
Well, they need, like you said, like they need men to go with them. Like,
Yeah, I
like
know.
real men, not like wimpy men, but like men. Like, you know, a man that you're not just gonna run up on unless you want to do it.
Exactly.
Like that, 'cause, like,
Exactly.
that's what needs to happen.
Oh, totally. And that's what's frustrating. It's just like we definitely need more men at this rallies, because that shit wouldn't have been going down if we had some men there. Because it was all these beta males that were going up and hitting women. And hitting women. There was this one, I think it was a pro-life rally, but this guy went to jail. He basically, she got him on tape, and she's just talking to him, and he like turns around and does like a roundhouse kick and kicks her. And she was like, call the cops. And she had his ass arrested. But I think I would have just jumped on him. I don't know, like, you know, I'm getting better, but I know what I'm capable of. And I know, you know, I don't have a good tolerance for physical violence. And I have friends, I mean, I do jujitsu, but I'm not super good. You know, I like it and hoping they get, but, and I have friends, my friends that do it, they're the last people too, though, that are gonna start a fight, because they know they can seriously hurt somebody and they don't want to. Like a lot of the fighters I know, they don't go around picking fights either, because they know that they can seriously fuck somebody up.
Yeah, most people that can fight don't do that.
Yeah, you want to fight each other. Like you want to fight your friends because you want to like level up and you want to test yourself. But you know, but I know how to street fight. Like I've just been like, don't fucking put your hands on me. It's fucking over.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, you may be bigger than me, but something's I'm gonna hurt you on my way down. You know, like.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you just all it is go back, respect people, respect people's differences, and you know, just don't put your hands on anybody. And if you do, just be prepared for return fire.
Yeah, you know, exactly. It's funny too, dude. And it's funny how people like start stuff and they get like shocked when you like defend yourself. Whether it's physically, right? Whether it's physically you defend yourself, or whether it's verbally when they say like the most horrible things about you, and then they don't expect you to have an opinion back, and they're just like. And
then everybody jumps on you. Everybody jumps on you for retaliating.
Yeah, they're like,
y'all didn't hear what they just said to me.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you're so mean. You're so mean. And like, you started it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, dude. Anyway, let me see if I can take one more caller before I bounce. But thank you so much for calling.
All right, good. Thank you for taking my call, and enjoy your holiday.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Try not to let these. Appreciate it. Try not to let these crazies, you know, get to you. And one more thing, if you ever seen it, watch Idiocracy.
No, I haven't. And a friend of mine, we've never seen it. I don't know if you know Anange. She's come on. She has her own channel too. We were talking about watching that movie because we've never seen it either.
Watch it. And watch it. That shit will creep you out.
It's really like what's going on right now. Yeah, I've heard.
Especially like when you said like, you know, we're talking about the vaccine, talking about are you gonna get your vaccine? Or I heard it's good and all that shit. Just watch it. This shit will creep you out.
Okay, I will. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Have a nice day. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
All right, dude. I'm gonna take one more caller. If you guys want to call, if not, we can talk in the comments. That's okay. I've never seen Idiocracy. Okay, I know there are some movies I haven't seen. Everybody's like, I've never seen all of The Godfather either. I know. I've never seen all of The Godfather. I've never seen Idiocracy. Rodster, background checks are not needed. I went through background check. I know. Am I not a real truther because I have never seen Idiocracy? I feel like, oh, hold on. Somebody's calling. Yeah. Hello.
Well, you killing it like always, bud?
What?
I said you killing it like always, bud?
I don't know, I guess. How are you? Is this, Scott?
I'm all right. Well, this is Scott.
Scott, hey.
As far as the guy you've been talking to, as far as the music and all that
kind
of stuff.
Yeah, what's up, Scott? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. I got to admit, though, like in terms of everybody talking about, fighting and standing up and big revolution, especially in Texas, I don't know, man. Like Texans are like the biggest like bluffers in the world. I mean, you know, you live in Texas, I live in Texas, and I'm just sitting there going, okay, you guys are talking about standing up and fighting. How many of you guys, and you walk into almost any HEB, and I'm in Midland, right? Like, it's one thing for you to say in Austin, because that's like, you know, Snowflake Central.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I'm in Midland, where they're just like, oh, we're as southern as you can get. Dude, everybody's wearing their masks all the time, outside while they're, I mean, I was last night walking on this sidewalk, and this dude walks by me without the mask, and he immediately, like, covers his face and, like, tries to go to the other side of the street, and that happens all the time. And I'm just like, and I even, like, as he was doing that, I was like, fucking faggot.
I know, right? I know.
Mean, dude, no. If we're failing on this fight, which is the easiest, most pathetic fight ever, you can, you know, I'm not going to go into it. You've already made an excellent case as to not only how ineffective masks are, but how damaging they are in terms of, you know, OSHA levels of carbon dioxide being at poisonous levels and cutting off your oxygen and breathing in bacteria and giving yourself. That's the hilarious part is they're like, oh, look at all these kids getting sick. And any doctors who have any common sense at all are sitting there going, yeah, they have bacterial pneumonia from breathing in from their mask.
Yeah, and there's also mask mouth too. People are getting their dirt cavities and stuff in the mouth are rotting from the bacteria growing inside their mouth in their mask. So I know, man. Where's Midland? Where's Midland?
I don't have any faith that they're gonna. Oh, go ahead.
Where's Midland? Is it in relation to Austin? Is it east, south, west? Where?
In Midland, I mean, Midland is like pretty much like mid. I mean, it's kind of more like western or whatever. I'm trying to think. I mean, do you know where Odessa is?
Where's in relation to Austin? How is it? How far is it from Austin? In what direction?
I don't know why, but oh my God, why can't I think right now? Here, I'll look it up real fast. I'm all like discombobulated. I'm like, what is it in relation to Austin? Even though I travel to Austin often, I'm actually thinking of hitting up Austin like a little bit or whatever. You know, I'll look that up. But no, man. In the meantime, like these guys who were talking about it, it really has gotten to the point where Aldous Huxley was right. You know, the dude who did Brave New World, where he was talking on the interview.
Oh yeah, I know. They're gonna love their services.
People are gonna, they're gonna learn to love their slavery.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm like, people say, "Oh, we're 1984." I think we're in Brave New World. I'd have to. I think we're in Brave New World, not 1984.
Exactly. Well, I mean, Brave New World was drugs, right? Mm-hmm. In terms of Soma, and that
drugs
like,
and technology.
Things, but you know.
Drugs and technology.
Huh?
Drugs and technology.
Exactly. And then also, remember, they was also trying to make everybody about as asexual as possible, like pretty much making breeding illegal.
Yeah. And everybody belongs to everyone else, that stuff, and not, you know, and also just like the whole like birth thing, like birth, and that was like, you know, breastfeeding was like, oh my God, that's so disgusting. You know, like they were trying to detach us from breastfeeding and from birth, natural birth, and from our natural roots and stuff like that, and calling people that, you know, were normal. We were like the savages, you know. I'm actually rereading 1984. I know I'm showing off, but I'm proud of myself. I'm rereading it in Spanish because I'm trying to. I bought actually Brave New World in 1984, and I'm rereading 1984 in Spanish. And where I am so far.
Well, 1984 is good.
Yeah. No, it is. I'm just saying, but I've been thinking about, are we in Brave New World or are we 1984? And from what I remember, what I read, I read them both. I think that we're in, I would say we're more Brave New World. Headed to
I think the overall, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the overall what? That's it.
Well, I was just going to say, I know I have a terrible habit of jumping in, like cutting off and stuff like that. It's pretty much. I guess I'm getting ready for the family dinners coming up, where we're just constantly talking over each other.
Yeah, I do that all the time. My mom watches. Sometimes she's like, "Baby, you cut that person off. You need to stop that." My mom gets so mad, so I'm always just like, she's like, "You're so rude." I'm like, "All right." So I'm also aware of that too. So go on.
No, well, I'm the worst about that. Well, I mean, I think I agree with you. I think the overarching plan sounds more like Brave New World, but I think various like smaller techniques are definitely 1984. like newspeak, in the sense of constantly changing the meanings of words to the point where it's just ridiculous. Like, I think that's definitely 1984. Like, we're definitely living in that, where now words just have no meaning whatsoever, or they have the exact opposite.
The doublespeak.
I think I think also the cognitive dissonance. Now, we talked about this before, but I think the cognitive dissonance, you see a good example of that in 1984. Whenever Winston's getting tortured, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always forget his name. He has like an Scotch-Irish name.
O'Brien.
Thank you. O'Brien's torturing him, right? Who was
his
supposedly
friend.
His buddy, but you know, but he was probably always. It sounds like he was always an agent,
yeah.
And just sort of lured him in. And O'Brien's torturing him, remember? And he's just like, "How many fingers am I holding up?" Right? And it was like, I think it was like he had 4 fingers, and he was trying to say, like, if the state says it's 5, then it's 5.
5, yeah.
And it was like, it was not just that eventually Winston, because at first he was saying it was 4, and he was just like, no, it's 5. He kept torturing him, but eventually, you know, Winston was saying, oh, okay, it's 5, and this is how I feel like they're going to be with us. They're like, you know what? I think you're only saying that just to stop the torturing, but I don't think you believe it.
Oh, totally.
And they want us to genuinely believe the lie. Like, not just go along with it.
Bertrand Russell, we're going to tell people that snow...
Portrait.
No, dude, it's like Bertrand Russell, I'm going to convince people that snow is black. It's fucking black.
That's
We're
right.
going to convince people that it's black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah, it's not just compliance. It's
Huh?
belief.
It's what?
It's not just compliance. It's belief.
It's that Jedi mind control shit. But that's why, that's why I got so into the vaccine so deep, because I knew once I started like researching it, I know I always bring it back to the vaccines, but I feel like it's just been a gateway to so many other like things where it just helped me see how this whole game is run. But, you know, even with the herd immunity thing and all the evidence and all the stuff, even though I'm like, you know, first they'll be like, oh, well, there are no experts, there are no doctors, there are no scientists that think that. It's just all like bitter parents who are mad that their kids are, you know, deformed and messed up for life. But then I found that, oh, wait, there are a shit ton of doctors and scientists. So then I'm like, oh, you bring that up, and then it's like, you know, arguing with people. I learned a lot by arguing with a lot of trolls. I was like, well, here's a doctor, here's a scientist. And then they're like, oh, but they're a quack. Well, how are they a quack? They just are, because we say so. And it was like, no matter what evidence I brought up, no matter what papers I brought up, no matter what I said that contradicted, they kept moving the goalposts, and it was never going to be enough for them. And then I saw that happening in the mainstream, and I was just like, you know what? They're going to just push whatever they want to. They're going to make people believe whatever they want to. The facts don't matter to these people. So I knew that they were going to get to this point where they were going to mass vaccinate people. And I saw it happening little by little. And one of the reasons, well, not the reason, but there are a few reasons. One of the reasons I got out of teaching, because I was just like, you know what? They are going to keep moving the goalposts, and after they realized that, you know, they kept in the places where they were saying all the kids had to be mandatory vaccinated, and they kept having outbreaks in the vaccinated populations. I'm like, they're going to go after teachers next. And then they were like, oh, well, they're going to blame it on the teachers.
I'm going to be losing my job, too. And I'm trying to find another route.
Yeah. You know, it's like they're going to have the teachers, and then it's going to be like, oh, well, all the teachers are vaccinated, but we still have outbreaks. Oh, it was a janitor. Oh, it was a pizza delivery guy. So I know that they were going to expand it out, because they're never going to take responsibility, because these people are motherfucking psychopaths. And motherfucking psychopaths never take responsibility for anything. For anything. They always blame it on you. They fuck you up, and then they gaslight you, and then they blame it on you, and it's your fault. They never admit
there it is.
Their
There's the key word right there, is gaslighting, too. Man, they do that so much. At very least, they project their problems onto you, and you're just like, wait a second, that's what you do. The fuck you talking about? Like, I don't do that. You do that. But no. Here's the deal, man. I think that the jab, that's a big part of why you're being... I mean, because you hear all these YouTubers like, I'm shadow banned, and I'm da-da-da-da-da-da. No, you are being shadow banned. You have been getting the crap kicked out of you big time. And why? I have to actually agree with you. I think that the jab is easily one of the biggest ones. I mean, think about all the topics. Which one meets, I mean, we're talking about for the last at least 5 years, which one seems to meet the most resistance almost every time, where people get crazy?
Even quote-unquote conservatives, you know what I mean? Like, I know there are people that
everybody.
I'm not in the conservative
Democratic
cool kids
conservative.
club. Yeah, I'm not in the conservative cool kids club because I talk about vaccines. Like I was cute, right, when I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, and then when I talk about vaccines, people like run. You're like, oh no, we thought she was just going to talk about liberals all day. She's talking about vaccines. I'm out.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
They thought you were their little token black person, and then
Yeah,
they
exactly.
suddenly like, oh, this one can see. Oh no.
I know, yeah. And you're not going to be like all the other token black people that we have picked out for the conservatives. We don't know what to do with you. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I mean,
I think I'll survive.
I gotta admit though, man. The other one that people go crazy about when you mention it, and it's gotten to the point where when you mention it, it's become one of those, oh, that's a ridiculous one. And partially, why has it become ridiculous? The theory about how the vaccine, the other one that has become considered ridiculous, chemtrails, and then the last one that's become, or the last two, I should say, has become ridiculous. Things like nanotech, /Morgellons, and then, of course, 5G.
Yeah.
All of those have been made out to be all just, oh, those are retarded. And you bring those theories up, oh, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
And the thing is there's so much evidence that makes it incredibly suspicious that they're all individually very, very problematic. But the problem is you get people like the David Icke, who, yeah, he says some good stuff, but he mostly discredits whatever he jumps onto. Or like it was Goldstein, right, in 1984, who was probably the fake resistance. I mean, let's just be honest. He was probably fake resistance to lure out anybody who was a dissenter.
Yeah.
And that's obviously Goldstein is QAnon, right? Where QAnon is the fake resistance trying to lure and deceive people. And that's another thing that QAnon harped on was the 5G and whatever, and it discredited anybody who wanted to look at 5G as being a problem. Because they were just, oh, well, QAnon talks about those, so it's retarded. And I agree, QAnon is retarded. But they latch onto things that are true and then discredit them. Now, here's what I think. You tell me, man. As far as the disease itself, as far as the big virus, I don't know, man. I'm getting to the point where I wonder. A virus is pretty hard to control. I know they have an anecdote and whatever, but it can mutate and it's problematic. But what you can control are things like a frequency. Right? And they already can do that. They've already been talking about this since CIA, where they disclose where they can send a frequency and make you either sick or depressed or whatever. Right? So they can already control you to a degree with frequencies. Then you end up coming in with 5G. And we're talking about, you've heard people like Joe Embriano go off, where he talks about at the, let's see here, I think it's like 4.2 gigahertz is usually what Wi-Fi is. And that can actually end up manipulating the oxygen molecule. However, at 60 gigahertz, which is what the SEC has, in the last few years, has said, oh yeah, it's okay to raise the frequency to 60 gigahertz. That can actually detach the oxygen from actually binding with the hemoglobin in your blood. And so we're talking about that 5G and then 6G and then 7G. The 7G guy said here is the goal for 7G, is that you always have a receiver and transmitter problem. Well, here's how you fix the problem. Make the humans the transmitters. And you go, well, that's kind of crazy. How would you do that?
Chemtrails.
Okay, now we come back to the vaccines. What are some of the things in the vaccines? We got heavy metals. Heavy metals would end up helping with the transmission. We also have things like...
chemtrails.
What is it called? Hydrogel.
No, chemtrails?
Huh?
I'm saying chemtrails, too.
And then the chemtrails with all and they also, now they're talking for a bunch, and I'll bring it together, but like, what do you think so far as with not only the heavy metals, but the hydrogel, and even, I remember you mentioned about the nanotech they find in the vaccines, they even talk about that maybe the nanotech is in the chemtrail.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And then you have people that had Morgellons,
right?
All that stuff. I mean, I think chemtrails have different agendas. I think that there's certain different, depending on what's being sprayed, they can use it to make people transmitters or put the aluminum in the environment and stuff, the heavy metals. They also can use it to control weather. I mean, I think different chemtrails concoctions have different things in them, and they use them for different purposes. I mean, I think that's all a possibility. I don't think. I have a different.
It's one of those nutty ideas. I'm just sort of throwing
Well,
out.
there's not really nutty. Like if you look at Sophia Smallstorm, there's scientists that have actually, people that have really good arguments and hypotheses on that. So if you look into that, it's not just paranoid conspiracy talk. I think that there's basis for people thinking that this stuff is possible. I'm not, and then I have a different idea about the virus. I really think that they haven't isolated it. So I want to do a video on this too, but they haven't isolated it. And if you look at like the historical, if you look at the medical history of like polio and of smallpox, they basically kind of did the same thing where they gave the people the disease in a different way, and then they just basically reassigned it. So if you look at flu cases and pneumonia cases, they're drastically down. So I think what's really happening, if you don't count the people that are being killed on ventilators and stuff, and by other medical errors, which basically is the third leading cause of death, which they removed my video talking about that, by the way, that medical industry kills more people than corona. But I digress. Yeah, I digress. So I really think that people are just getting like, colds and flus and pneumonias, and they're just reassigning it to COVID. Especially when you have when it's being said, it's being written in the coding structure that people have that telling doctors and nurses to put COVID down on the death certificates. And they're paying hospitals extra money if they get a COVID diagnosis. So I really think that's what's going on. And then as far as it mutating, they're just pulling that shit out their ass. They're just fucking lying. That's all it is.
Well, I think about how many of the students were quarantined, and every time they come back from the quarantining, I would say almost every single one of them come back and go, yeah, I didn't have any symptoms, I wasn't sick or whatever. And so, I'm very much bought and sold that what we've been dealing with here since March has been nonsense. If it gets hold of you, it can make you sick and this, that, and the other. I'm not arguing that. I think that what we've been dealing with for quite some time has been innocuous. And that's part of the cognitive dissonance thing, to get you to go along with this fear thing, even though everybody sits there and goes, yeah, but they say I have it, but I don't have any symptoms. And they say, oh, you can spread it, even though continuously the CDC and the WHO, you tell me, would sit there and go, because they kept going back and forth, but it looks like it's now pretty much standard in the argument, I haven't heard it shift, that no, you can't spread it asymptomatically. The guy who was the head of Pfizer, one of the guys there that just stepped down, said no, asymptomatic people cannot spread the big C virus.
But this is where the media comes in too, because even though that's a fact, they have commercials now running saying, if you have COVID, you may not have symptoms, but you can spread it to those that you love. So they have that shit running on, and that's going in. And then, that's how they fucking get people. That's how they fucking lie. That's how, they have all these zombie movies, right? All these end of the world movies, all these virus movies that are already pre-programmed in people's mind. So it's easier for them to accept this information. Predictive programming.
Well,
there are people that think this shit is real. This zombie movie shit is real. These vibes. I don't want to go too far into it now because I want to get going soon, but I believe that microbes exist and bacteria exist and parasites exist and protozoa exist. Viruses, I don't know. I'm a little iffy. There's a huge in the scientific community. There's a huge argument whether they're even living. Even like prominent scientists, they're like, they're like, you can see these particles under a microscope that people think they're called viruses. But then there's like exosome theory, and talking about basically that it's not a virus that's attacking the cell. It's a cell that's been attacked by some chemical agent or something, and it's debris that's breaking off. To me,
there you go.
That makes more sense.
Virus, quote unquote, virus is more like a reaction to what ends up actually occurring.
Exactly, right? So it's like, that makes more sense to me. And it makes more sense that, if you get into Béchamp and Pasteur and germ theory and terrain theory and how they basically try and hide, terrain theory and they push germ theory because germ theory makes us more dependent and not independent.
Yeah.
You just know the whole game. So anyway.
Well, I mean, that's what that going down the crazy trail right there. You remember the dude who throughout the 90s was constantly, and he was a credible doctor, and he was constantly taking patients who had quote-unquote HIV, and right then and there, taking their blood sample and injecting it into him, and just continuously going, I constantly am not coming up positive for HIV. He goes, the HIV is nonsense, that the thing really, truly killing the people is the treatment itself.
And
if you think
it's-
about it, those early treatments for HIV were awful.
Yeah. Oh, the AZT. It was a black box cancer drug. They were killing people. It was
Right.
obliterating people's immune systems. So I mean, it's a lot of crazy talk. You're gonna speaking of crazy stuff, and you're gonna kill me, but I don't think you'll kill me. I don't think you want to kill me. I just interviewed.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, man.
I interviewed.
I'll start with this stuff. Well,
No, I don't care.
The last thing, man, and I'll let you go because I'm sorry I came on at the last second.
No. I'm teasing you.
I can jabber on like. Well,
I was gonna say, I'm warning you.
Whatever, but like it, huh?
I was just gonna say, I'm warning you. I interviewed a flat earther, so you're gonna
flat
be like,
earther?
yeah, you're gonna be like, what?
Dude?
Because it's Truther Talk.
No. Actually, believe it or not, man. Even though I got to admit, and I've had to watch myself on this too, it's so easy, and I've heard you talk about it too. The people freak out so much so about becoming dogmatic on everything. And in all truth, those people who really and truly understand the position they're coming from, not only realize that there's always a chance they can be wrong. It's just like I'll sit there and say, I mean, I'm a Christian, but I'm not going to freak out when somebody ends up like saying this, that, and the other. Because one, I've already looked into it enough to where I feel pretty strong in it, but I also acknowledge that there's always a possibility I could end up being wrong. Yeah. And these people who, one, don't know much about the topic they're talking about, and then two, are just, just in general uncertain. They're the ones I notice freak out the most. And I'm actually one of these crazy individuals that, I actually am very much entertaining the flat Earth concept. Like, have you heard some of the silly proofs?
Well, no, I mean, I'm going to air it on Tuesday. But, I did it because I was just like, you know what, I want to, believe it or not, I know I have a lot of people that have joined this channel because of the political situation, but this channel started as a truth-seeking channel, and it's still that. Right. And I'm like, if I'm going to stay in integrity with what this channel is about, I need to have people on that I don't agree with or I don't know. I still have to be open. So, and it ended up being a very interesting conversation. And he has an app, and I actually let him share the screen. Oh, shit. Oh, that really hurt. Let him share the screen. And he showed the app, of the stuff. And, some stuff actually piqued my interest. Some stuff I'm just like, okay, well, that's interesting, But I think it actually ended up being a really good conversation. But I think that people are going to freak out because it's like, oh, my God. Like, how dare you? I'm like, you know what? Like, people look at me.
Somebody who's in the middle. If somebody's in the middle, man, I think actually the flat Earth, I mean, there are a lot of flat earthers that really are angry and condescending and crazy. I agree with that. But you know what I mean? Like they really are some of the just most condescending people you'll come across. But at the same time, and they discredit their movement. And I said, they go, no, look, guys, if you just be chill.
Yeah, dude,
You guys have actually you actually do have a lot of good arguments, even though there's a lot of really bad arguments they got too.
Yeah, but
they got a lot of good arguments.
But yeah, the guy was really cool.
I'm in the middle.
Yeah, the guy was really cool. It's going to be an interesting conversation. But I had this dude just out of the blue. I know I can be snarky and I can be a smartass and stuff. I didn't say shit. I just go on my Facebook and there's this dude that's writing paragraphs and cursing me out. He's like, you fucking bitch. You call yourself Truther Talk and you're not talking about the real lie, the realest lie of them all is the flat earth. And he was just going off and cursing me out. And I was just like, I didn't even start anything. Like, what are you talking about? But I'm just like, I was thinking about that dude. I'm like, he's going to be happy that I covered this. I mean, I guess if I hadn't blocked him, maybe he would come back and be happy. But I blocked his ass because he was too far. It was too much. You know?
I know, man. Well, here, but nevertheless, so the reason why I'm stopping the conversation is you need to go, and I could talk way too much. But the reason why I mentioned, I'll say this, I'm bringing it back to music because that's the only thing I actually know, and you know that kind of stuff like that. The reason why I harped on frequency, right, as far as talking about 5G and this, that, and the other. The reason why I'm saying this is they've obviously been trying to do that with arts in general. That seems to be one of the first places they started with changing the frequency of the world, especially with music. And they've either done one or two things. They've either done, you remember in the early 20th century, you had people like Schoenberg and those dudes who did the crazy atonality and all that other kind of stuff like that.
The what?
Atonality, 12-tone. You know, it's like,
I think
you hear it a lot in weird, scary, like horror films. They use it there, and it is actually usul there.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Where it's just like it has no tonal center, and the harmonies are completely alien, and it's weird. And it showed that, okay, that has its place, all of those contemporary ideas. Like, if you want to use it where you create a lot of anxiety in the listener, okay, fine. But they would push so much of that stuff as, oh, this is quote-unquote beautiful music, and you go, well, it's obviously not.
It's the same thing what they do with modern art, right? But they're like, oh, like a toilet with, you know.
That's right.
It's beautiful.
The same with visual art. Visual art is the easiest to demonstrate because they would constantly try to push like, oh, you know, it's like splatter painting with Parler. Where they're like, this is brilliant art, and you're like, no, it's retarded.
Yeah, he just took his paintbrush and flicked it a few times.
Exactly, and the thing is like, if you want to change frequency, the best one, in my opinion, is music. I mean, look at it.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, Satan is associated with, in all the, not so much necessarily Christian culture, but like in all of his little derivations and all the other different cultures and so like the whole, I mean, actually, I guess, well, Dionysus, but I think that's actually like moon. I think that's more female, but nevertheless, Satan tends to be associated more with the feminine. Look at Saturn, right? The whole Saturn worship, which is Satan worship, but that's actually more feminine and so on, you know. Anyway, I could go. That's a whole entire different rabbit hole.
Yeah, it is fascinating. And then you get into kymatics and stuff, and cymatics and stuff, where you can change. And then the Gregorian chants. They know about the power of music. Gregorian chants and Indian chanting and oming.
Yeah.
And it could be good or bad, you know, depending on what frequency you use. But you can physically change shape by the frequency of music that you pump into an object. You know. There's even I was watching something. And like I said, I don't know all about the Bible, but I know like the story of Jericho, how the walls fell. There are people that believe that was done harmonically.
Right.
It's interesting.
Well, I mean, who knows? But then you also have the exact opposite, the oversimplification. And that's what I was complaining about with Christian music, is that quote-unquote Christian music, a lot of times, remember the joke alongside, we call it 7-11 music, where it's like 7 words, like said 11 times. And it just ends up being, you know, maybe like a 1, 4, 5, 1 kind of like chord progression. And you're just like in a real basic pentatonic scale structure and just a blase verse chorus. And you're like, there's only so much you can do with that. And I think that's the purpose, is they wanted to have that very two-dimensional cookie cutter McDonald's sort of sound to end up watering down the spiritual experience.
And it keeps you confined, almost like a prison, where you can only go so far and expand your mind so far. It keeps the status quo. Yeah, that's how I feel about rap music too. You know, the consciousness. That's how they had to take that over though, because it was becoming too conscious. People were starting to really wake up. They had to put it into that shit quick and in a hurry. You know.
That's right. They're either trying to completely confuse our frequency or lower our frequency.
Yeah, exactly. But let me let you go.
All right, man.
I gotta go. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
And Merry Christmas.
All right, you're awesome, man.
Thank you, man. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
All right, Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. I am gonna do a few more promos with us. There's not gonna be a show on Friday, because Friday is Christmas. Yay, Christmas. But hey, like I said, join. If you want to support this channel, please become a patron on Subscribestar, a patron on Patreon. Join my email list, shop at the store. Join me on BitChute. Join me on Brighteon. Join me on Steemit. Join me on DTUBE. Listen to some of the podcasts, our old podcasts on on SoundCloud, and also Liam Chef would come on, and we actually did some goofy. It was more Liam and April at the time. They would do little goofy stuff, but Liam would come on and he'd do voices, and they do little skits on there too. You can also purchase my Conspiracy Realism course. What's up? All right, that's a really good way to end. Please join my music channel. It's going to be more active in about a month or so. Join my backup channel. I got so many tabs, so many. Right? Oh, okay, these are just the examples that I showed earlier. But all right, guys, that ends today's show. Merry Christmas. I will be back next Wednesday. Same bat time. Same bat channel. I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Peace, truth, love. Bye-bye. Mwah. Oh, wait, I have to blow you a kiss.